Sure, everything's working. I'm Patrick, your local game guy, and this is co-host Will. Hey, Will.
Sup?
Not much. This has been a fun week. I'm tired. If I look tired, it's likely true. I got my Dune shirt on. Check it out. Regal Theaters, baby. I love just cheesy ass like t-shirts. And we went to see. We weren't there for Dune, but they just had Dune shirts for sale at my local Regal Theater. So of course I bought one. But the one
Yeah,
they
you
pulled out
got
of the
to. It's
box
the
was,
law.
huh?
Yeah, you got to. It's the law.
The one they pulled out was so grimy.
Oh
So I
no.
didn't so I didn't wear it initially. So this is like fresh out of the wash, finally getting to wear it. There's still like pilling, there's like stuff on it, but it's cool. It's here. Hey Storm. And hey Mateus. Please talk about Static Prison. You know what's
Yeah,
funny?
cards
I've
broke.
got 5 cards on my white list, and that's one of them. But yeah, guys, why don't I give you a little bit of a rundown today? I know attention spans are at a minimum in this day and age, so I'm going to just cover this right off the bat. This is a full-on set review, specifically for Commander players. So if you play other formats, you might not enjoy this live stream. However, if you do dabble in a little bit of the multiplayer, then you should enjoy this. We're coming at this from the perspective of CDH players, so not everything we touch on is going to be hyper relevant for you if you play casually, and we may even miss a card or two if you happen to play casually or even competitively, and that's why we do these live. We're not perfect. We're incorporating you into every live stream. So if we miss something within a given color, we're going to take a beat before we move on to the next one to get your thoughts or get your questions on a certain color from the set. Right, so bring up cards that you might think we missed, or you think are playable for niche strategies, or have combos like A plus B plus C, hopefully just A plus B, that are really good. We'd love to hear about them. I'm certain I probably missed a thing or two. That's also why Will's here. But how are you, Will?
I'm good. I'm good. And I don't know why, but the way you phrased what you said a second ago got me to think of just a very, very out of pocket joke that actually almost got me to laugh.
What?
Because you said we're not perfect, which is why we have you here. And I'm like, wow, that is completely different context between a streamer talking to a chat and a parent talking to a child.
Mm.
I thought about that and I'm like, oh, that is
Well,
very.
this is like the family found. You know, the parent just has to deal with that little snot. But these are people you want to be with. So thanks if you're here. I really
Uh,
appreciate it.
I That's one of those moments when your mind just connects two dots and you're both like ashamed but trying not to laugh. That was one of those moments for me.
Oh, God. Your parents are pretty awesome, though. I think mine are pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Patrick was able to visit me last weekend, so
It's true. If you happen to live in Virginia, Maryland, that area, next time around, I'll holler. I'll try to do some magic events. I've been going to a lot of other events, TCG and unrelated, but
and we may or may not be trying to do a thing in Baltimore later. I think we're gonna have to talk about that a little bit more and get that planned out a
I think
tiny
I'm in
bit more.
Atlanta. I think I'm in Atlanta. Let me double check though. But it's like
Yeah,
during the middle of the week. But I'm my brother-in-law has hey Jared, if you're watching this, they're about to have a newborn. So yeah, we the way we planned it out, we're not visiting like the week of, but we're visiting later. So we'll definitely talk about it. Either way, Will, you can obviously talk about it, and Will be there. Um, but yeah, how are you guys? Let us know in the chat. If you enjoy these live streams, feel free to leave this with a like. That'd be amazing. Leave us your glowing review with a thumbs up. But also have your list ready for this one too. This is Modern Horizons 3 to incorporate the Commander set, so plenty to talk about. We're over on Scryfall, as you'll see in a second. So there's a shit ton of cards on here that are reprints whilst looking this up, so we're going to ignore those. Also, I don't know if I've already said this, but we're skipping out on the legendaries here. We won't be discussing legendaries. We're saving that for tomorrow. Wait for the thumb to come up, but there will be a live stream tomorrow, right around 7:30 as well, that will cover all the legendaries from the set, and there are a ton. Hope you're anxious for that, Will. I mean, God, I'm anxious just thinking about it. Oh, is there a cycle? Is there a cycle? Green one is
uh,
bonkers. Yeah, there
yeah.
is a
The
cycle
cycle
of
of
lands.
the fancy untap lands for each color.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah, I
like
think
two in each color.
the black one is really good, the green one is really good, and the blue one is really good. The
Mm.
white is okay, and the red feels kind of underwhelming, but is debatably the best for casual.
Mm. Okay. Well, maybe we'll bring that up. How about that? One for each color. I think there's two for each color, guys.
No, no, no. For the
Am I
they're
crazy?
talking about the ones that it's like this enters untapped if you control a forest. You can also pay, this taps for green. You can pay two
Oh,
green green, and then if you have delirium, this becomes a copy of a permanent in your graveyard until the end of the turn.
got it,
Those
got it.
lands.
Never mind.
Blue, yeah, blue has a one that's what is it called? Not affinity. Improvise. Black has draw your deck debatably. White has draw a card, and then red has give two of your things haste.
All right, well, so before we start this thing off, how do you want to do this? Do you want me to start with white and then you go to blue, then I black, you red, me
Uh,
green?
I'm fine if you want to cover your picks, and then I do my street cleaning of like here's one maybe two things that Patrick missed,
Okay.
and I can hop in with my comments on some cards as well. But do we want to record this? I don't know if you've set up the recording for it.
Oh, but we can. Just right there, it's happening.
There, good.
Good, good. All right, boys and girls. You guys ready for this? I hope so. Well, hey, welcome to Local Game Group. I'm your host, Patrick Marlad, your local game guy, joined by local game host, Will.
Sup?
Today we're going to be covering Modern Horizons 3 in a review for you Commander players. That's right. We're looking at that modern set and saying, hey, there's one or two things I like too. Maybe I'll buy some of this product. Maybe we'll get some in the mail. Who knows? If we do, we'll crack it on camera for you guys. But sadly, there are no packs today. I'm looking around. No, I've got plenty of other things, but you guys aren't going to want to see me cracking sorcery or One Piece, especially One Piece. All right. So on that note, we're over on Scryfall. We're going to go through this in WUBRG order. Then we're going to touch on any multicolored spells, colorless spells, and lands that come up from the set that we think are worth your time. The thumbnail says CDH staples. Put asterisks on that. I think everything we're mentioning is going to be playable in a variety of lists. That isn't to say they're going to replace any one thing from your deck. There will be certain lists that will want some of these cards, and there will be certain cards that fit in every deck. But we're going to go through them today with you. Let me square this up so it's on your screen perfectly. Is that more or less better? Right there, right there. Yeah, that's good. All right, so we're starting with white, obviously. And the first card I want to mention, I think is good. You tell me, Will. Is Charitable Levy. So I like this card quite a bit. So it's a generic and a white. And Charitable Levy reads, non-creature spells cost one more to cast. This includes you, sadly. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, put a collection counter on Charitable Levy. Then if there are 3 or more collection counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do draw a card, then you may search your library for a lands card, put it a plains card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So it's a little bit of card advantage. It's a little bit of ramp. I kind of wish that Hi Wife. She knew. I kind of wish that you did the land thing first and then drew, just to negate the feel bad of drawing a plains and then playing a plains. But okay, Sarah, you know, I think that this is pretty good temporary hate / it benefits you in the long run.
Yeah, I can agree to that. And the reason I think that it is a draw card then search is because you can shortcut the effect to some extent. So it's there for casual. Because if you do it the other way around, you have to go through the thing, draw the card, or go through the thing, shuffle, then draw the card and see if it's useful in this current situation. Otherwise, you can just go, oh, I'm going to play this Force of Will that I just top decked off of it on that thing you just played, then find the planes. So it's faster to do draw than land, but I agree with you. It would be better if it was the other way.
Unacceptable, Will.
Also,
I don't. Oh, go on.
Notable, this does not find a basic. It finds any planes. So this finds
Yeah.
your duels and your triumphs. So it's pretty nice. I think that a good deal of stacks decks will like it. If you're playing something like Luris or any way to recur this, this is brutal because it will just
Mm.
ramp the crap out of you over the game.
God,
And
after playing Nadu, I forgot that any other legendaries existed. You're right.
yeah,
Luris would care about this.
yeah.
This plus
Patrick's too
Thalia.
obsessed about the bird. We built a bad mono white bird,
Uh,
not bad, but we built a lesser mono white bird before. Then we built
yeah.
the superior simic bird.
Oh my god. It's no lie, it is the superior bird. If you didn't watch our Nadu stream, please do. Treat yourself to that. The deck is good. I don't know if our version is the best, but I mean, it comes pretty close to the sun, I gotta say. And not to spoil anything, but Icarus's wings in this story, they don't fucking melt. All right. Next card I want to talk about, skipping ahead to Flare of Fortitude. It's 2 generic and double white. Hold up. Calm down. Instant speed. You may sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost, right? Who needs Recruiter of the Guard after you've tutored? Until the end of your turn, your life total can't change, and permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. This is relative on so many fronts, but if you have a list where it's slow rolling and you really need the things to stick, and they're squishy to like a lot of effects, mass removal in general, this is going to be really good for you. Obviously, things still do get around this, such as like a Cyclonic Rift, but narrowing down the play options our opponents have to just screw us over for free is really good. Bearing in mind, you'll need a white creature on the battlefield, but I think for a majority of us, we'll have white creatures. There's plenty of good ones out there. Pick your least favorite stacks piece or hate bear and get rid of it. I like this. I like all the flares, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the
Yeah.
cycle, by and large, is good from this one. They really didn't do white dirty this time. Last time, the free white spell sucked. This one's
Yeah,
good.
what was the
Well,
previous free white
well,
spell?
Solitude was there too, but
Yeah, I think
Solitude
Solitude
was good.
was the most recent, but the one before that was all of your creatures are indestructible.
Right,
This does that, but on roids.
right. This is just a lot better. I call upon a power. I call upon a power greater than myself. Yeah, we could tell. I'm sorry. This is off center for you guys. It's right there. It's dead center now. Greetings. Hey, Martin Webb. Yeah. So, Will, thoughts on Flare of Fortitude?
Uh Significantly worse Angel's Grace, but significantly better heroic intervention.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Well,
pretty much the best way to sum it up. You use this as like a 0 mana sacrificing Zur cast ad nauseum, or sacrificing whatever Orzhov commander you're playing to play ad nauseum.
yeah. I mean, this is just like, Will just brought
I
up
mean,
Angel's Grace. It is the same thing. You could use
well,
this with Adnos.
Orzhov plus. I obviously, if you're doing Nas stuff, you are probably in Demir to some extent, so it's probably closer to what is
Mm,
that called? White, black, blue, Esper.
Mateus
Yeah,
says he'd
you're
rather slot in Everybody Poops as opposed to Flare of Fortitude. That's a choice. I
to
don't know.
be
I mean,
fair, like depending on how well you need your curve, yeah. Counter argument though, if you do everybody poops, you cannot win the game. But with Flare Fortitude, you can win the game immediately. That is the reason why a lot of people do not like everybody poops.
yeah, I don't like it that much. I mean, I don't use it in any deck. I would use this in Oswald. Yeah, I wouldn't use Everybody Poops in Oswald. But yeah, let me
Yes.
know what you guys think. There's a whole poll going on right now. I don't know how long I'll keep it up. Maybe like the next 2 cards. So act fast. All right, there's a big asterisk on this next one. It's on the screen now though. Metastatic. Let's just add a few more letters. Metastatic Evangel. Yeah, did I just butcher that? It doesn't matter. 1 generic and a white Phyrexian human cleric, 3/1 body. I am no sleeper agent. I am a liberator. It is you who are asleep. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. Why did I bring this up? Repeatable proliferate. Usually proliferate's attached to some like high activation cost or some bullshit. This is actually a pretty cheap way to get that going if you have a strategy that relies on like counter manipulation. this is something that you should keep in mind. I think that, flickering creatures is a strategy in many decks, particularly those that can like include blue. So this is something to look out for. I don't have the A plus B plus C for this, but I'm positive it exists. But yeah, I'd be curious to know your thoughts. I'm sure there's something for this card. I just wanted to bring it up as I found it interesting. I didn't really hear anyone talking about this card, but it is something that slipped under the radar for me, and it is definitely from the set.
Yeah, it's a card that I saw and I'm like, this is really good for casual. I don't know how good Proliferate is in CDH, but in casual, it's a monster.
Mm-hmm. I've thought about trying to manipulate proliferate cards for combos, and I've just never found. I feel like this is the missing link. I'll revisit a proliferate deck. Like, is it going to be better than just rocking Nadu and getting value from people targeting your shit? Probably not. Okay, but I like jank every now and then, and I also just want to nod to Vulcan Baga because the man is a badass. I love every single card he's ever painted.
Well, Patrick, you can use Metastatic Evangel, and then you can proliferate that one ring of yours in Oswald.
Yes, yes. Feel the burden.
Also, can I really quickly just say, non-artifact creature, the fact that it's a Phyrexian but it's not an artifact is not nice for me. I don't like
Does
that.
it bother you?
It annoys me.
We could
I
have
know that
tutored for
not
it.
all Phyrexians are artifact creatures, but like they are, but they're not.
In another world, we could have tutored it with Oswald. There might have been a play line, but sadly, no. The next card I want to bring up is Razorgrass Ambush. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, you idiot. It's an instant, and it's a land. Get this. Uncommon, 1 generic, 1 white. Razorgrass Ambush at instant speed deals 3 damage to target attacking and blocking creature. Thank God it's instant. Look, this is decent removal. It'll actually kill a few things. We all appreciate Bolt, right? But that's less important than the fact it's just attached to a Bolt land. For
Yeah.
me, this is great. I love value lands. When the first MDFC lands came out, that the mythic ones that had like Bolt yourself and then get this really great effect on the other end for some of them. I love them. I love this concept. I like cards that have multifunctions. So like when you consider this in a 99 card singleton deck, it's more like 100 cards now. I'm getting 2 options for 1 card. And the other side of this ain't that bad. Obviously, if you're playing a deck that cares about your life total, don't slam Razorgrass Field. But if you're playing a slower list that can manipulate a 2 CMC spell, or a deck that has cost reduction by way of commander or otherwise, I think that this is a generally good card. All of these uncommons are
Yeah.
generally good, but some are
I
better than
may
others.
I may or may not have put like every single one of the Bolt lands on my list just because.
Ooh, Angela says sleeper Phyrexians are not artifacts. Is this a
Oh,
lore thing or
interesting lore. Thank you. Good to
yeah?
know that actually.
Metastatic.
I
Thank
can
you.
even if you're pulling that like out of your butt right now, like I respect that enough that I'm like, yeah, fair. You know
How
what?
much you're just gonna accept this answer? You
Yeah,
don't want to
like
like
I'm gonna accept that answer, even if that's completely and utterly BS. I will accept that answer.
hell
Like that is
yes. Oh, sorry.
so viable and so reasonable that I'm like, yeah, no, you're. That sounds too correct to not be correct.
What could you do if your deck was only non-land cards, but your lands were MDFCs? So Pub Stomp is suggesting that it's
There's a modern deck called Oops All Lands. You just do that.
well, oops, no lands.
Or sorry,
Like
that's what I meant. Oops and no lands. It's
okay,
there's one card that says mill until you hit a land, and then you just put your deck into your graveyard and do graveyard stuff.
that's so sick, dude. I love
Yeah,
that. And funnily enough, Pub, I think the more shit we get, the more realistic that will be as like a viable, at least CDH strategy. It's definitely something you can do though. All right, the last white card I wanted to mention, and you can obviously piggyback with any other white cards that you've seen that you like, and you, the audience, obviously. I'll end our poll in a second, but whoa, Static Prison, 1 white enchantment. What's this? When Static Prison enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Static Prison leaves the battlefield. You get 2 energy. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? Why do I need... Hold up. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, sacrifice Static Prison unless you pay 2 energy. Here's what I suggest. Put a die, a d6, whatever you got, on 2, and tick it down at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase as this goes off. This is a temporary solution to what is hopefully a winning turn. And it's 1 white. This is outstanding.
Yeah, this is the new staple white card. This blows Swords to Plowshare and Path to Exile out of the water.
Speaking of,
if only
right,
for the
right
fact, yeah, if only not for the fact that this is sorcery speed, but the fact that you can hit any permanent and there's no benefit to your opponents is brutal. There's no setup for this. There's nothing that you have to say like, oh well, I have to have one of each basic land type to reduce this from 6 mana to 1 mana. Oh, Leyline Binding. Or I have to have a affinity for historics to 4, friggin' banished to another universe or whatever that's called. This is just there, and it does it immediately. If you're playing any remotely fast deck, this is an auto include. If you're playing a slower deck, this is still probably an auto include, but you're going to be a little bit more wary to play it. But it's still going to be there. It's just that you're going to hold it until you're like, okay, the game is ending in like 3 turns. I'll exile the thing.
Yeah, you can usually feel it out. With most CEDH games, you can tell like if it's the final rotation or not. It's a little more difficult with multiplayer formats, but it doesn't matter. Everything Will said is correct. Everything you're thinking is correct. Yes, the card is good. Unless you're thinking it's bad, then you're wrong. I'm here to tell you you're wrong. I'm sorry. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends you've been wrong. This is a good card. Get copies of this. It's going to be like a nickel. Maybe more. I mean, honestly, there are some uncommons that actually go up in value. I feel like this is one that might, because it's pretty damn good. But that's it. That's all I really wanted to cover for white. So
we also got a good recommendation of play your prison, then banish Drannith Magistrate, then immediately sacrifice prison the next time that you could pay for it to get the Drannith back.
Right.
That's not bad either. Like, this is controlled removal.
Right, precisely. That's the other way to look at it. Like, just because you have the energy, just because you put that die there doesn't mean you have to use it. I'm gonna sneeze. I fight every day not to sneeze, Will. That's a rare occurrence you all just saw.
I know.
All right,
we respect your effort.
You salute. Thanks. Swap Static Prison in for Portal Hole. Portable. Oh my god, Portable Hole. Immediately when I saw it. Well, it's a little different for me because I play Oswald Fiddlebender, but I'm not gonna lie, the Dust Rose Reliquary is kind of better. I think I might have even taken Portable Hole out for that, but I could see slotting this in sooner rather than later. And yes, Luris loves this card too. Luris is gonna love anything 2 CMC and under. That's repeatable. But yes, I agree. Don't stop bringing Luris up.
Speaking of an artifact you probably want to put into Oswald to replace some of your other removal, I got my card that was skipped over, which is a Argent Dais, which is a 1 and a white for an artifact. When this enters the battlefield, get 2 oil counters on it. Whenever 2 or more creatures attack, period, not just you own, put an oil counter on it. You can pay 2 and tap it, remove 2 oil counters from this, exile another target non-land permanent. Its controller draws 2 cards. So, the drawing 2 cards does hurt, but this is exile removal that is tutorable in Oswald and just generally reusable. You're probably able to activate this maybe 2 times in a game, and it's an instant speed activation.
I think if you're making a slower build, but I feel like my Oswald operates pretty quickly. So I question.
I'm fine with this just as I'm gonna pay a white, sacrifice a 1-drop, then pay 2 and pop that Drannith Magistrate or that Rule of Law effect or something on the board. Like, this is just a easy tutorable piece of removal in Oswald. I
don't disagree. Yeah, why not? That Timber strategy, the Najila, I guess. Yeah,
it is so dumb that it is whenever anybody attacks with 2 or more creatures.
Do you think that is a typo? Errata it?
Maybe,
because it's not in the white way. I feel like it, and I mean that usually white cards are bad, right? Yeah, isn't that also what everyone still thinks?
Alms Collector. That's a very fun combination. Yeah, you can also Spirit of the Labyrinth and just blow something up on somebody's turn and then they cry.
I take it. Are there any other white cards you wanted to bring up though?
There are 2 more or 3 more. But these are relatively quick ones to cover just because I'm like two generically good cards and one interesting card, and I'm going to do the interesting one first.
Okay.
Guardian of the Forgotten. So this is a 3 and a white. Whenever a modified creature I'm gonna skip all the other things because all that matters is the text box on this card. Whenever a modified creature you control dies, manifest the top card of your library.
Hmm.
Uh so this is a kind of easy to abuse card because if you have Lightning Greaves and any sack outlet, you can go through your entire deck in one turn. Also, if you have a Demon Male Hauberk, you can go through your entire deck in one turn because you sacrifice a creature, put Demon Male Hauberk onto a creature, sacrifice the equipped creature to move Demon Male Hauberk onto the next creature, repeat, 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 repeat. You just need technically three creatures to start the loop, and then you go through your entire deck.
So is this
Is
going
this
into the Shielded by Faith? What's that? This not Simic. The Selesnya girl's name? The one who did the Shielded by
this?
Faith combo?
Oh no! Oh,
No,
her.
she makes infinite creature tokens.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that goes into her.
I forget her name. If you guys remember who I'm talking about, I know folks were really excited that she was a plus B with that enchantment, but yeah. At any rate,
Yeah,
I think it's
but
Shielded by Fate.
Guardian of the Forgotten is another combo in mono white. Probably doesn't beat Heliod Ballista, but
Yeah,
it's there.
and just like its name, it was forgotten.
Indeed,
Sorry,
indeed.
I like the thank you though for the combo.
Yeah, it's a very interesting combo. I think it's going to be seeing more casual play than competitive, though. And my last two cards are just two good pieces of removal, and one of them is on my list for a similar reason for one of your cards, Patrick. Witch Enchanter, 3 and a white for a 2/2 creature human warlock that says ETB, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls, and it's a modal bolt land. So it's
Yeah,
a one higher cost, what's it called, Reclamation Sage, but it's a land on the backside, so if you don't need the removal, it's fine. I like it, especially since white is the flicker color.
yeah. No, I agree. It is a little costly, but you're right.
Yeah. And then my last card is literally right next to it, Wrath of the Skies. It's just Gaze of Granite, but in white, and you get some energy on top of it.
Pay your static prison.
Yeah. But this is just like usually you pay 4 mana into this, and then it's a Wrath of God, but it hits all permanents. Usually it'll wipe everything that you don't care about. This card is just really good. It's really good removal. I think a lot of decks are going to be playing it.
Even the weather of Dominaria shifts to assail would-be invaders. Alright, you would-be CDH players. What cards do you have to suggest in white? We missed something? Doubtful. But if there's anything, please let us know. No.
I think one that there are like a couple things that I looked at in here that I'm like, oh, somebody might mention this because it's just generically good. But there's
Sorry.
Hmm?
No, Rio says it's Witch Enchanter's human. So like Winota list might appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's kind of gross. Neat.
Yeah, that is true. I like that. I like that as an option. Sorry, you were gonna say?
There's a couple cards in here that I looked at that I'm like, probably not good enough, but some people might like these. Like the random ones are like Ocelot of Pride and the White Orchid Phantom. Those are just two generically good cards, but I think they're not good enough for CDH. But people might like them.
We don't like them, do we? Well, guys, if there's any other white cards you want to bring up, let me know. But until then, we're moving on to blue. And gang, unlike Charitable Levy is something, I brought that one up, Mateus. It's like he doesn't even listen to me anymore. And Signed to Memory is the first card I want to talk about in blue. You know why? Because I think that this needs a little bit more love, this ability. Counter target triggered ability or colorless spell. This is 1 blue, and you can replicate it. So, I like replicate effects. I think it is one of the best ways to copy a spell, and obviously it's attached to a few cards, Shattering Spree being my favorite replicate card. But triggered abilities, folks let shit slide way too often. We know what the problems are. They keep occurring. Everyone likes to bitch about Dockside, but no one likes to do anything about Dockside. So why don't you just do something about Dockside? right? This is an easy one to slip in because I'm going to be frank with you. I also like seeing the One Ring. I think a good tempo play is stopping you from having the One Ring. Am I wrong? I don't know. This seems like a really good card, though. And the fact that Replicate is attached to a generic value, come on. I think it's a pretty decent effect. I don't know how many times you're going to need to, like, slam the Replicate on this effect, though, frankly. But I do like this card quite a bit. I don't know if it replaces your typical Stifle, but I think it's a broader range effect that is going to be really good. And if anyone uses Ancient Void spells, don't forget, you can use this. But Will, how shitty is this card? Am I wrong?
It's pretty good. I think that the one thing I hate is why does this card have Replicate? I
I don't
feel
know.
like that effect is almost never relevant because it's like, oh, someone cast an artifact and then it triggered an ability. Then it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stop you from getting a 1/1 Thopter and counter your One Ring. Those things are
Yeah,
both very equal to me.
yeah. Well, look, the thing
I
is, you don't have to. You may choose new targets if you just want to insist on, like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna pay 2, and I'm gonna counter your One Ring here. I'm gonna counter your One Ring here.
Yeah, you
Stop
can
me.
stack up on them and basically
Yeah.
Flusterstorm up.
I'll
But then
do
at
that.
that
I'll
point,
do that
that's
with Shattering Spree too. Sorry, not to cut you off. I'll do that with Shattering Spree. If I'm like, I'll double down on this one thing, and I'll hit the other things.
yeah. I just don't understand why Replicate on the card. The card is good though. I think the card is quite good because just saying one blue stifle a Thoracle or counter the One Ring or counter Soul Ring or Mana Crypt or any fast
That's
mana
right.
that people need to do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of utility in this card, and I think a good amount of decks are going to play it. I don't think it's going to be put literally everywhere, but it's pretty good. And somebody, Mateus, brought this up. You can counter a Storm Trigger and then just make it so that Flusterstorm is just one.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, Storm's triggered ability on
How does it
cast.
how does it read? Okay, yeah, I see someone mentioning Tendrils and Grape Shot. Obviously, Storm, Bluster Storm is the big to do. I just want to confirm this because I have not heard this. When you cast the spell, copy it for each spell that was cast this turn. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I put Flusterstorm on the stack. This is before anyone gets priority. There's a new trigger. It's this. Yeah. So before the storm resolves, you're gonna say, "Fuck that."
Yeah,
Wait,
instead of paying the 10 mana for that Flusterstorm, I'm gonna pay one blue and one.
I don't know. Okay, I'm liking it more and more. At any rate, if this is Urza, your tears were worth it, my friend. This card is pretty dope. I mean, isn't that like his high school or some shit? Isn't that one of his helmets? Isn't that his Stormcrower? I don't know.
I'm a Storm Crotanos, or whoever he was saying this to. I'm a bird of ill omen.
All right, I want to just
Not to
bring
be confused with a raven of ill omen.
no. I just want to bring up what is arguably the worst of the flares. Just get this out of the way. Flare of Denial. I'm just bringing this up as I have to bring it up. It's not. It's just part of the cycle. Okay, it's not a
Yeah,
good card.
yeah,
It's not a good
very underwhelming.
Not. I don't think anyone's gonna use this.
Yeah,
For
it should have
generic,
done more. Blue needs better cards. Come on,
right?
why is blue being so
Well, it's
underrepresented in
every
Magic the
set.
Gathering?
Every set, blue just gets bad free spells.
We
And
keep saying it. Blue is the worst color in MTG.
yeah, I mean, if you look at decks consistently, I think people feel bad because I'm seeing 70% blue in a majority of decks. People are just trying to bring it back, and it's just not gonna. Okay. You may sacrifice a non-token blue creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Counter target spell. Well, says you, I don't have any blue creatures. Because all my shit's instant. What do you mean? I barely have a blue
There are
permanent.
blue creatures in Magic the Gathering.
Does Mystic Remora count as a creature? Does Rhystic Study? There's that girl there. Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I do think that this is probably one of the lesser free blue counter spells, and I'm not joking. I because non-token blue creature might be difficult for you, and I'm very serious, outside of your commander. But frankly, if your commander is just there for value and not a part of you winning the game, let it go. It's almost like having it's almost like Fierce Guardianship, but not. Thoughts on this, Will?
So in my opinion, cancel as a counterspell is not completely horrible in the fact that it hits creatures, but there are better counterspells than just straight up cancel. The fact that you can sacrifice a blue creature to counter a thing is much better for it's a good improvement to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will say there are some CDH decks that run Abjure, one blue counter target spell, sacrifice a blue creature as an additional
Mm-hmm.
cost. Those decks are going to be running Flare of Denial instead of Abjure or alongside of it. Sorry, Abjure is a blue permanent, but usually it is a creature.
Mm-hmm.
I think Flare of Denial will see play. I think Flare of Denial is it's going to be in the misdirect category where it's one of those blue free interaction cards that not a lot of people run.
Yeah, this one might be fairly priced. Nope, never mind. Other
No, it's
formats.
still a free counterspell and it's new. It's going to be expensive for a
All
while.
right, moving on. Harbinger of Seas. Winona
Yeah.
Nelson. My favorite art from the set. If you guys care to know, this has been my favorite art from the set. We're gonna go full art for this one. It just looks so beautiful. But the card itself is quite good. Here's your blue creature. One generic double blue. Merfolk Wizard. Non-basic lands or islands. If I cry, we all cry together. Uh, is this good? Is this a
Well,
good card?
I hear islands are the strongest card in the game, so I don't know why you'd give them to your opponents.
Right, but
in
it's all
in
about balance, my friend.
I know. In my honest opinion, though, this is better than Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon and all of those because blue actually cares about being slow. If somebody, even if somebody's in blue, if somebody's playing a WUBRG deck and you just go, nice land base, it's only blue. That is going to be brutal to deal with.
Mhm.
So this card is really good. I
Yeah,
think it's going to be a new blue staple. Uh, it does work.
you still get to cast your interaction most of the time. Yeah, again, I wasn't lying. I'm sure my fake statistic was accurate, though. 70% of all decks that include blue are blue. I'm sure that's accurate. Give or take a percentage or two. I think I'm being modest, but you'll probably get away with it if you're playing this card, and if you're mono blue, you'll probably love the shit out of this. It's a good creature. Simic can tutor this very easily. You can transmute it if you're mono blue. Transmute
Also,
into it.
you can now play Blood Pod without running any red.
Yeah, bring it back. Well, is it still Blood Pod at that point?
It would be Flood Pod at that point,
Blood
probably.
Pod. Blood
Let's see
Pod.
that would be Thrasios Timna Flood Pod, I think.
Are you gonna make a build for this now?
Probably not, but I think. Also, I want to point out you can sacrifice Thrasios to find this, and you can sacrifice Thrasios off of Hero's
Yeah,
Pyre to find this.
that's so true. That's so funny, man. Oh my god, I love Heroes Pyre. I feel like that's one of those forgotten
Yeah,
weapon pods.
I might throw this into Dargo Thrasios Tide Pod just for the fact
Mhm.
of I can Neoform Thrasios into Screw WUBRG decks. I'm pretty happy with that.
Honestly, yeah. God, man. Sorry, I think about Commander. I think about Nadu. We'll talk about our legendaries tomorrow, but guys, definitely stay tuned to 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. We'll be doing a legendary tier list. I cannot I don't know why I'm bringing it up now, but I'm just thinking of how much I want to build and play Nadu. At any
Yeah.
rate,
Also, someone brought up a Harbinger may make High Tide more relevant again.
yeah, well, doesn't it apply to everyone? Says
Yes,
everyone
yes,
just
it does.
bawling.
Both apply to everyone.
Rough.
My thing is Harbinger is going to be really good in Simic decks because you have fun with Harbinger and Carpet of
Yes,
Flowers.
yes, thank you. And yes, Mateus just brought that up
Yeah.
with the shades. It's true. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to the best MDFC here. My personal favorite, Hydroelectric Specimen. 2 generic and a blue. There's your blue creature. Creature. Weird. 1/4. Flash. When Hydroelectric Specimen enters the battlefield, you may change the target of target insert a sorcery spell with a single target to Hydroelectric Specimen. This is just cheeky. I like redirects a lot on a personal level. That's why it's my favorite. I wouldn't say this is the best of the lot, but I think that this one's quite good. And then it's attached to a land. It's attached to a land. I like this one a lot. I think it was worth mentioning. I'm not mentioning every one of these MDFC lands, but this is one I
I
personally enjoy.
am.
I
I
know,
think
I
I am
know.
except one. I think there's only one I didn't like.
Thoughts on this though? Is it worth running a 3CMC weird?
Yes. Because one, just combat trick creature. It is a flash 1/4, so it can be a blocker and it
Mhm.
can potentially kill something. It's also just a way to protect your commander. It's
Yep.
also a modal land, so you can play it as a land and not really care.
You know
And
what's funny?
also,
Oh,
it
sorry.
it can potentially be good as a value theft effect because if somebody's playing a deck that cares about targeting things and drawing, you can try to
Yeah.
redirect it
I'm gonna
to
chain of
this to
vapor my
stop
dark
it.
side. You're like, nah, you're gonna chain of vapor
No, you're
this,
chain of
friend.
vaporing my weird guy. You're
Thank God
gonna
I
bully him because he's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Thank God I play Alurin in this deck. No, you're probably gonna just have to bite the bullet there. But look, it's mana cryptable, okay? Look, it's a land that does this. That's all you gotta consider. I think it's great. But that's not
Speaking
all
of
we got.
lands that do things, I'm pretty sure I know your next card.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, do you? I might have missed it. Wait, is there another MDFC land? Is it Sink into Stupor?
Yeah, Sink it to
Well,
Stupor.
oh, I think I put these backwards. So we're gonna read these backwards. For some reason, it auto-corrected it to Strictly Serenade. Strictly Serenade for 1 blue, instant speed. I have a separate list off to the side. I was like, what the hell is this card? I don't remember seeing this card. Counter target artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 bird creature token. Obviously with flying. It's a Swan Song, but not Swan Song. It's good. It hits a lot of... Planeswalker is probably the least relevant.
Yeah, it's just artifact and creature. The fact that it's just 1 mana, screw a Dockside or screw the One Ring is very good. It's funny because that is the exact same reason that we'd potentially run the other counter spell. But this does everything the other counter spell does, but somewhat better because you can hit every creature instead of just
Mm-hmm.
any triggered ability. Because most trigger abilities you care about are from creatures, anyways. Um, I would say this is a very good card. My only complaint is Strix Serenade is a stupid name for a Magic the Gathering card, and the fact that they wanted to name it like Swan Song it just annoys the crap out of me because a Swan Song is an actual thing and it's a very badass term, and this is just dumb.
You've never heard
The
anyone
name is
say
dumb.
Strict Serenade?
I'm gonna begrudgingly play Strix Serenade, but I'm just gonna call it like
Well,
Strix.
you should just start incorporating it into your, like, your vernacular. You should just be like, man, that's a Strict Serenade. Just to see how
No,
people react.
no. Do you even know what a Swan Song is?
No, I don't. I know it's a
It's like
thing.
it's your dying performance. It's like, well, I'm fucked
Mm.
anyways, so I'm gonna do this as my last act to just do it for the sake of doing it.
Well, that's
I'm
what
like, that's freaking badass. Like the guys on Titanic playing the music as the ship sinks, and I'm like, fucking
So
respect.
what's the Strict Serenade? Is it just like the opposite of that? It's like you're not dying. You're just giving an awful performance. You're just giving a
That,
performance.
in my opinion, yes, that sounds like the
It's
dumbest
just
thing ever.
it's just any performance. It's not your last. Next up, we've got this delicious little fiend taking a bath in that beautiful, beautiful natural hot spring. For a generic and double blue, instant speed, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. You can't do it to yourself. And you can flip it. Guess what? It's a soporific spring. Maybe not something you want to bathe in. Yeah, Bolt Land. That's all
Yeah,
I gotta say. I think
yeah,
that
just bounce a non-land permanent or bounce a spell, pretty good. Probably
uh,
going to be used to bounce a non-land permanent more often than bouncing a spell. But hey, making someone have to pay 14 for a PETA is pretty good.
so wait, Shrieking Drake. Sorry, I'm just bringing it up. So Shrieking Drake doesn't target? That's no good. I'm
Oh,
just bringing this up because of Nadu.
doesn't it?
Return a
Oh,
creature you control to its owner's hand. Fuck this
oh,
card.
dang. Thought Shrieking Drake targeted. What the frick? That's
Yeah,
so weird.
maybe it was in its previous wording? No, not even. Maybe if we use
That,
this media inserts version, we can fool people into thinking it targets. I mean, Shrieking Drake is still a good way to reset, but it's not very good. I'm sorry, wait, we
yeah,
played this in our Nadu.
yeah, we did.
Anyways,
It's still a good combo, but I thought it targeted. Okay. Oh well.
well, could you stop bringing up Nadu? Let's. Oh my God. Okay, let's just focus on the cards here. Guys, last one I want to bring up in blue that I think is wonderful, marvelous. Really, the strict serenade on top of what blue brought to the table. This is Volatile Storm Drake. Storm Drake Serenade. For a generic in a blue. Creature Drake, 3/2, but do I need to read this off? We all know what this does, right?
It's Gilded Drake, but you can get 4 energy and pay energy equal to the thing's cost to keep it, or you can just sack the thing and not pay the energy. Uh, Honestly, better Gilded Drake, which is insane because Gilded Drake is already really good because you can steal Stack's piece and then immediately sack it to the card's effect, and then you're happy.
I'm not gonna lie though, I need the secret lair where it's like another merchant selling this Drake. Because the art for Gilded Drake is what makes it special.
There is an alternate art for this card.
Stop. Is it an old man selling this on the market?
No, it isn't. To be fair, it's freaking badass. But...
Oh, this just looks cool. I know. I want the cheese. I want all the cheese. I don't want my Magic cards to look cool. Guys, you're doing it wrong. See, but that's what's neat about Magic the Gathering. Like, I feel like they cover everyone's bases. If you just want to be an edgelord, I guess you get this copy, but I'll have the other one. I'll get the old border, and I'll just have it hand painted to look like another merchant selling another shitty drink to someone. It's cool though. I'm sorry, it's cool. You're right.
No, what you do is you get the alternate art, then you get like a penny sleeve to put on top of it with an art of like the old man doing the like black gift thing. Like what I'm talking about, like the guy gets roasted in a rap battle thing. You just have like the guy going, the merchant guy going like a pog on the side, just in front of the Drake,
holding a little bag of cash, like whoa! I can't believe you bought this shit. That's actually kind of funny. It would work with this too because there's like a lot of negative space to the left here. Anyways, just thoughts. If you're an artist, let us know. I'd love to see it. You don't have to send any of that here. God no. But Will, blue. Audience, blue. Anything you want.
You hit literally every single blue card I was gonna do. No more, no less. You hit it perfectly.
Just hitting those. There you go, man. That's my strict serenade for you. All right, guys.
You can't make it a thing, Patrick. It's not gonna be a thing.
I'm gonna force it. I'm gonna try. Damn it. So, guys, if there are any blue cards that you would like to talk about that I didn't cover, because I'm pretty good at reading the cards, I gotta say. It's my strict serenade. It's my gift to life. I still kind of like the instant Gilded Drake from OTJ. Which one's that?
It's one of the pick more than one option. What is that called? What's that keyword from Thunder Junction?
Oh, that's funny. Storm Drake Hexproof from Gilded Drake, by the way. Flying Hexproof from Activated. Yeah, it's a better Drake. I think it is. I'm going to agree with you, Will. I'm ready to move on, though. Feel free to pull that up and we can talk about it with the audience, but...
It is Shifting Grift. I think that's the card that was brought up.
Alright, I'm sorry. Yakult Drinker. I don't know if I've had Yakult before. Is it the one that comes in those little plastic bottles? But yes, Amphibian Downpour. I think someone else might have actually brought this up earlier, too, so this is for you. If the art doesn't get you, then maybe the effect will. 2 generic and a blue, flash, storm, enchant creature. Enchanted creature loses all abilities, and is a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. I think that this is cheeky. I don't know, like, to what end, right? The thing is, we like these effects, though, because of things like Kenra's transformation. Things that leave the thing on the battlefield, and then they just have to figure out a way around it. The issue is, when you're facing other lists that contain blue, the majority of the time they're manipulating not really hard removal, but bounce effects. So, they're fine with this. I think other colors might struggle, but Amphibian Downpour is pretty good. I don't think this is a bad card. And again, 2 generic and a blue is not a difficult ask. And if you're just watching shit go off, this is pretty solid. It doesn't stop, though. It's not like putting a dress down into play before Thassa's Oracle or a Dockside or something. Like, you have to suffer the thing happening and then play this. What are your thoughts on this one?
It's better than I initially gave this card credit for. It's kind of like a Darksteel mutation style effect in the fact that you can stack multiple copies of this to just say, yeah, no, that Tymna's not losing, or that
Mm.
Tymna's not gaining the effects back. You need multiple removal on this or some way to bounce and replay Tymna. It's pretty good. My only concern is, holy crap, that Dockside's gonna get big.
It's true. Count your dock sides, friends.
Indeed.
This in Ivy. Stored radiant. Yep. Crabination.
That's a black card. We may be covering that later.
Sorry, that was hurting my brain trying to pronounce this. Crabomination. Shoot. Okay. Anyways, a little PSA for you guys. If you haven't watched X-Men '97, go ahead and watch it after this. One of the best shows I've seen in a long time, animated or otherwise. I don't know why I was thinking of that. Something about that cheesy art made me think of X-Men '97. Accursed Marauder for generic and a black 2/1 body. When a cursed marauder enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. It's just another flashback marauder slash plague, Doctor Plague, whatever that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
This is significantly better though, because
Yes.
honestly, 1 mana more makes it kind of CDH playable, especially considering the fact that people played the sorcery that did this for the longest time, or maybe the instant that did this for the longest time. That's like 1 and a black.
Mm-hmm.
Each player sacrifices a creature, but now you just play this, and then it's more or less each opponent sacrifices a creature because you are probably sacrificing this.
Mm-hmm.
Good card.
I like this a lot. It's a zombie, which is a relevant tribe. I mean, if you're trying to do things with Gravecrawler,
Hey, it's a warrior, which is a relevant tribe. Najila.
Yeah, it's true. Like 2 relevant tribes attached to 1 creature. I like this a lot. This is a very notable common. I think this is pretty pushed for its position. And it's great against freaking like anyone that's making tokens that would otherwise just sacrifice the orc that they've generated. You know, you're like, no, screw that. Get rid of something that you actually care about. I like this card quite a bit. Because again, a Fleshbag Marauder was just creature, right? They could sacrifice anything. This is like a pushed version of that.
Yeah, and to Josh, we did not bring up a Johnny because we are only bringing up non-commander cards. If we find a legendary that we think is good in the 99, I think we're going to bring it up. But a Johnny is really good in the command zone, but is much less useful in the 99, so we didn't bring it up in the 99.
So yes, oh, yeah, guys,
if Harry Potter,
did you put your name in the goblet fire? Oh shit, we've been rewatching Harry Potter, and I'm here with you all instead of watching Harry Potter 7 Part 2 with my wife.
Have you seen the comparison video that people have done where it's like Harry Potter the book? Dumbledore calmly asked, Harry Potter, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
I know.
Movie version goes,
I know. He clearly read the books. No, he took that a completely different direction. Or maybe the director was like, hey, you know, I like that calm thing you're doing, but could you be mad this time? Because holy crap, like he has a lot of moments where he's tranquil. I think specifically of the very last film at the train station, it has some of the best lines in it. He was super chill, but there, my god, nothing was holding that man back. At any rate, to a card that I think more than a handful of decks is going to want to play, Chthonian Nightmare for generic and a black. And I'm sorry if I'm missing any comments. Feel free to chime in, Will, if someone says something that is relevant to our review here. Anything non-relevant, though, feel free to just delete those messages, Will. I'm lying. Enchantment. When Chthonian Nightmare enters the battlefield, you get 3 generic.
For
3 generic
relevancy, it's a Chthonian is how I believe that's pronounced, and I only know because Yu-Gi-Oh had that word used.
Chthonian? Oh shit! And they probably pronounced it really cool, like
Chthonian.
Chthonian. Can you pronounce it like your Yugi?
Yes, it's like Chthonian Nightmare. That's it.
Yeah, my grandfather didn't play no Chthonian Nightmares, so I don't really know about this spelling. But pay X and energy, sacrifice a creature, return to its owner's hand. Return target creature card with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate as a sorcery. Say it with me now.
Dockside.
Dockside Extortionist. Okay.
Yeah,
We
this is
broke it, boys. Woo! And
I
girls. I see
I
you.
also just want to say this, completely excluding Dockside, is just a really dumb Magic the Gathering card. Because you can go, oh, I sacrifice my token and I reanimate my stacks piece, and then I'm going to do that again, and then I'm going to do that again, and then I'm going to do that again. And this is just a never ending loop of screw anyone having a game plan. And I will say, the one thing that makes this card a little bit more tolerable versus Recurring Nightmare is it has an ETB trigger, so there is a point when people can interact with this at instant speed. But if this did not have an ETB trigger, it would just go play it second rebound, play it second rebound, play it second rebound, and no one could respond unless they were countering it.
Sorry, I like the Gandalf guy in Harry Potter, Abza. Dumbledore. It's Dumbledore. Corvold effing loves this.
Yeah, every single deck effing loves this. If you're playing white, you're getting back all of those stacks
Huh.
pieces. If you're playing green, you're getting back all of those really good utility ETBs from your random things. If you're playing blue, you're probably going to keep looping something dumb like Gilded Drake or Spell Seeker or anything. If you're playing red, Dockside, card's broken.
So yeah,
Also,
it's a good card. If there's a line for this in Satru, let me know. I don't know what that is.
I think it would just be the zero mana creatures, the ones that just say ETB make mana or untap stuff. So there are Satoru lines with this.
Oh, like Priest of Gix or something?
Yeah,
Wait.
Priest of Gix, the Cloud of Fairies, name a thing. As long as
Oh,
the
okay.
total CMC of the two creatures is 6 or less, that's infinite.
Yeah, so they took a troubled card from Magic's history. If you guys are new to the game, just look up recurring nightmares. That's my favorite card to draft. Whenever I play Cube and I see that, I'm like, holy shit, I guess I'm in black. This is great. I'm just gonna fuck with everyone. I love combos, and it's very easy. That card is just an enabler. At any rate, look that card up. They took that and they're like, how can we make this balanced? And they failed. They failed. It's also good. Nightmare is amazing. Will, we need to move on though because
I also want to say sick alternate art.
it's Will. Oh yeah, that's good. Man, they're all good. I want this old border foil one though. I'm not gonna lie because the bubbly muck black card backing. Yeah, can we just? I know we've likely said it 1,000 times on this channel, but do I want that red stripe?
Mm-hmm.
Do you not want it?
No, I'm finishing.
I'll take it. My wife is gonna hand me. You read my mind. Look at this. Here, this is why you have significant others. Thank you, babe. Look at that. Look at that. Sorry, Will, I can't hear you yet. Evidence that I'm loved. I don't know, maybe Ali watched. No, we weren't even on camera at that point. I was just like, man, I really want to grab a beer. We've got one more red stripe, but I'm going to leave it for Ali. I told Will that because she likes these. The official beer of Jamaica or whatever. Maybe. I don't know. Any rate, I feel loved. I just want to share
Indeed.
that.
Next.
If you guys love, like, share, subscribe. Share it with share it with your spouse if you've got one. And ask her, hey, can you give me a red stripe, babe? um, so yeah, yeah, I like these old border cards quite a bit. I love the fact that every time we see Modern Horizons, we get these again. I really wish we would just stick with the themed, interesting backgrounds instead of the sort of more generic shit. But at any rate, just gonna bitch about Magic, the game we love. Okay. How about this, Will? You want to try this on for size? You ever slip into a pair of Marionette Apprentice pantaloons?
Yes, I have that card on my list. It is a very, very good and very, very dumb card.
Yeah, it's a fabricate. I'm not going to read that off. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. It's Blood Artist. Kind of. But better.
Yeah, it's a Blood Artist, and what's the other card? It's there's a 1 black card that does when an artifact is put into the graveyard.
Sorry, yes, Spouse is
It's a something of the vault.
Something of the
Disciple of the Vault?
Disciple of the Vault.
Yeah, so it's a Disciple of the Vault on top of a Blood Artist, minus the life gain, on top of a ETB make another creature that you can do stuff with. This card is really, really, really dumb in my opinion, because you can tutor this off of Razaketh, then sacrifice the Fabricate token to find another thing that will hopefully let you combo off and just end the game right there. Like, you can find Leonin Reliquary, then you can exile a Mana Rock or something, then sacrifice Leonin, and then get the Mana Rock back untapped, then find Animate Dead, then play Animate Dead, and then get back Leonin and do the whole loop. So, this gives cleaner Razaketh lines, and it's just, in most situations, better Blood Artist. If you're playing something like Yawgmoth, Blood Artist is better, but this is just really good in general as a finisher. It's a dumb, gross card.
Another good card in Prosper. I'm hearing Nightmare this Dockside. Yeah. Yeah, it's sick. I mean, man, I love it when there's so many. I don't know if you guys have been counting, but there are a lot of like just good commons and uncommons we're discussing. It makes me happy. I'm gonna bring this up. I don't really want to say anything about it though, Will. Necrodominance.
Yeah. Okay, I can do a small speech about this card. Necrodominance. So, black, legendary enchantment that says, you skip your draw step. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay any amount of life, and if you do, draw that many cards. Your maximum hand size is 5, and if a card or token would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So,
Thoughts?
significantly worse Necropotence, but still a Necropotence. My gripes with this card are A, limiting your hand size kind of hurts it for a value Necropotence.
Yeah.
And B, it is a replacement trigger for the exile instead of a triggered ability like the original Necropotence. So previously with Necropotence, you could discard cards to the graveyard, do stuff before they get exiled, and then win the game that way. You cannot do that with Necrodominance. The other positive and negative, depending on how you look at it, is Necrodominance draws you cards. It does not add the cards to your hand. Against Orcish Bowmaster, that hurts
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
But there are a couple different effects that say when you draw cards, gain life, which work really well with Necrodominance, which could make a couple CDH decks viable. But there is one aspect of this card that's different from Necropotence that I have not brought up yet, and that allows an entirely new deck to be formed and potentially be a decent CDH deck. That is Shimmer Sisay. This is a legendary permanent, so it can be searched off of WUBRG Sisay. So it's potentially viable to make a new deck. Do I think it's actually going to be good? I don't think it's going to actually be great, but I'm willing to be proven wrong on that because I do see it has potential.
They slathered on too much text. They went a little overboard with the
They were scared to put Necropotence into Modern, and you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. One thing to note, you decide how many cards you draw as the ability resolves. So if someone flashes in Bowmaster, you can choose to draw 0.
True. But you're still going to be sad. Because, hear me out, you can also choose how many cards you draw with OG Necropotence, except you don't draw cards, you just add it to hand. I'll say the other part that I really don't like about Necrodominance versus Necropotence, you pay the life on your end step, meaning that your opponents have several steps and phases to blow this up before you do anything with it.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
Yeah.
That feels horrible. But hopefully it's not relevant.
No, legendary burn. We're moving on, Will. I'm not going to use this card. Don't use this card. I brought it up because I feel like I needed to bring it up, not because I like the card. I've had no thoughts on the card since it came up. I do have thoughts on this card, though. Oh boy. Man, we keep getting these again. Pete Ventures. Man, the art from the set is so damn good. All right. Warren Soul Trader. 2 generic and a black. Creature, zombie goblin wizard. 3/3 body. Vanilla, pretty good. 3 for a 3/3. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, create a treasure token, anyone? We like this?
Yes, but my main complaint about this card, and also the hill I'm going to die on this card. How the crap are you going to tell me a Soul Trader is a wizard and not a warlock?
Yeah, I mean, look at the garments on this card too. Like,
You're
that's
literally
warlock
wearing a
attire.
bone vest and red and black.
I'm pretty sure that's the starting gear you get in Baldur's Gate when you pick warlock. Like, I think they dropped the ball here, guys. I'm gonna make this a poll. Can should we start a petition? I don't know. I do agree with you though. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, Warren Soul Trader. You're a wizard, Harry. Or warlock. Wizard or warlock? Let us know what you think. Is Warren Soul Trader a wizard or a warlock in your minds? Because frankly, I agree with you. I think the effect and the art, everything is pointing towards warlock, and they made it a wizard. It is odd. But yeah, it's a good card. I think it's just a really good value engine. I think in some instances, is this gonna win you the game, Will? Like, are you using this with what's that dude? There's got to be a combo for this. Am I mistaken? Like,
Oh, there's plenty of combos for it. You do Phyrexian Altar stuff, but with this instead of Phyrexian Altar, and then you do
Right.
Blood Artist to mitigate the life loss.
right.
But you can do stuff with what's it called? Forsaken
Grave
Miner. You can
Crawler.
do stuff with the Grave Crawler because yes, this is a zombie, so it
Yeah.
works with Grave Crawler. So it's easily tutorable in green, giving you a couple more combo avenues. This is just overall a really good card because A, it's a creature, so you can easily recur it and you can easily find it. B, it's a goblin, so you can easily tutor for it in red. And C, it's a wizard, so you can easily tutor for it in blue.
Yeah, you're wizard cycling.
Yeah.
You're a wizard, Warren. Hey, Hagrid said it. We're just eating this shit up, people. We're lapping it up. All right. As
Okay,
the lone
wait. I also want to just say, like, yeah, the flavor text on the card as well. The living take their souls for granted, the dead know what they're worth. That feels like the most warlock text ever!
Who do we talk to? Who do we talk to at Wizards? I don't know. Anyway, just put this out there, guys. If you too agree with us that Warren Soul Trader is a warlock, let Wizards know that we're not going to accept this. They need to errata this, and sooner rather than later, because we all noticed the mistake. Okay?
We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore.
Damn, I've never seen Will this heated. All right, so totally discrediting the necromancers are wizards. Patrick, what is the difference between a wizard and a warlock? I don't know. One wears the remains of the humans it sacrifice as like armor, and the other just wears regular fucking robes. I don't know.
I really quickly want to say to cow stickers, yes, but this is not a necromancer. This is in fact a lich because it's a undead that does soul manipulation stuff. So warlock.
There's actually a difference between a wizard and a warlock, and the Soul Trader could definitely be a wizard. Well, I would like to investigate a little bit more into this. I think this is a separate episode.
Well,
But
so
if you've got the evidence, if you got the hard proof, you show it to me. You show it to me quick.
from a D&D perspective, the whole thing between wizards and warlocks is wizard is training through their own power. Warlock is they work with the deity and sacrifice parts of themselves for benefits in like the most simplest way possible. So, yes, this could be a wizard over a warlock because it could have trained to get to the state, but it's like every single part of this card is like, hey, look at me. I'm a dark spellcaster, which is in all of Magic's history usually indicative of a warlock. So
Okay, so Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, liches are remains of great wizards who embrace undeath as a means of preserving them. Definitely a wizard, says Cow Sticker.
No,
All
well,
right.
here's the thing. They're remains of wizards, but that doesn't make them wizards because they're a lich now. The question is a lich a warlock or a wizard, which isn't really indicated by that paragraph. Well, yes, they are ex-wizards. Are they still wizards?
Do you remain a wizard in death? I don't know. I okay. So I play a little bit of I've played a little bit of the D&D, but always on console and always with an eye for just progressing through a lovely story. I've never broken down the nuance between wizard and warlock, except I know
Yeah,
it's more or less what Will was saying, at least from the games I've played, and most recently Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not going to be the right person to ask about this,
yeah.
but I am interested in everyone's thoughts.
I will say to everybody in
Liches
chat,
get stitches.
by D&D perspectives, yeah, it's a wizard, not a warlock. I'm 100% going to say that. The issue is this isn't D&D. This is Magic the Gathering, and this isn't the D&D set. I know that D&D and Magic the Gathering have some overlap on a lot of different things, but we don't know what planes this is taking place in. I still stand by the freaking aesthetic is what it takes for something to be something in Magic the Gathering. What's a loxodon? It's an elephant with a job. You need to have that job aesthetic.
Uh, Lich is not a warlock. A lich would not want to depend on patron for their power. They become liches to live eternally and grow more powerful. I've also never played D&D. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's it for Black, though. I'm sorry. We're really harboring on this. I'll end this poll.
It does matter quite greatly though, Patrick. We must know.
Will, are there
Um,
other? I mean, to someone, I guess. Well, you know
I,
what? Maybe they got it right. And we're wrong. I'm sure that's the truth.
so I have three black cards that got skipped over.
Swept under the rug. Do they
Indeed.
flip into lands?
One of them.
Okay.
So one is a Boggart Trawler. It's a 2 and a black for a 3/1 creature goblin that just ETB exiles target player's graveyard. It's Bajukabog, and it flips into a land, so it's either a goblin or a land. This card is relevant just because Goblin decks can easily tutor this. It's a little bit of grave hate, and it's a pretty much you play this because why not play it? It's just another modal land that actually does something kind of relevant.
But are boggarts really goblins? I'm just
Yes, yes.
kidding.
Saying are rednecks really humans?
Oh, hey, our brethren. Wait, are you gonna say Emperor of Bones next, Will?
I'm not going to say Emperor of Bones next.
It
In
was
fact,
brought up in chat a few times, so sorry. We'll get to it
we
when we
can
get
we
to it,
can
though.
go to we can go to Emperor of Bones. That does come before my next card.
Okay. Well, thoughts? I mean, it's good in other
It's
formats. I don't know. Is it what list is this going to fit its way into?
Yeah, so in my opinion, Emperor of Bones is really good in 60 card, not too great in 100 card, but it does still have potential because it is a reanimate effect. But for those who don't know, one in a black for a 2/2 creature skeleton noble. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to one target card in a graveyard. You can pay one to black to adapt to two. Whenever one or more counters are put onto this, put a creature card exiled by this onto the battlefield under its owner's control with a finality counter on it, haste, and it gets sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. So, this is like a weird necrotic ooze that can't burst exile stuff and can't exile stuff at instant speed. However, it can, if you have anything that gives counters, theoretically just reanimate 2 to 3 things in one go and then get a massive board or do a combo or something. Card has a lot of utility, but it's very slow, which is the only reason why I think it may not be good enough.
Okay.
A card that is similar in thought process, at least, and something that I want to see if somebody can do something with. Fetid Gargantua. This is 4 and a black for a 4/4 creature horror with 2 and a black, adapt 2. Whenever one or more counters are put onto this, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Now, 1 second. I just sneezed too.
Damn.
You gave me a cold through the screen, Patrick.
Sorry about that. That sneeze traveled.
I know. But the reason why I like this card, and I don't think that this card is going to be stable in any way, shape, or form. I think that there's going to be one interesting use for this card, and I don't even know what that use is. But this card could theoretically draw a lot of cards in your deck and be a good burst use for something like Gave or one of those other commanders that does things with counters. This being 5 mana hurts my soul. I wish this was like 4 or 3 mana and just a lower stat line, but the card has some weird potential. I don't think it's going to be great.
What are more +1/+1 counters? You may draw 2 cards if you do lose 2 life. Yeah, it's a weird engine. It's common though. I mean, I think that the effect is interesting. I think that the cost is high. I think that you'd probably reanimate this as part of a buried alive pile. Maybe there's something there. Is there a ooze that just gets the effects of cards, not like the activated abilities, but like the effects? Would be interesting if there was a way to manipulate this in a buried alive pile properly. Fetid Gargantua and Kenny for counters. It's not bad.
So you can do wizard class with Gargantua to draw your entire deck in one go because it has a level 3. Whenever you draw a card, put a counter on a creature you control.
If a warlock gets wizard class, is it dual class or is it now a wizard? I'm done.
That's something that popped up in chat, or
No, I'm just asking. Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
it probably
Yeah,
be
you could Agatha's Soul Cauldron some things here.
Yeah.
Or Absent counterpartner. I don't know. I think Will is correct. It's an interesting effect. I don't know to what end, but what's your last card? That's what I want to know. Is it Final Act?
Yeah.
Because god damn, look at that art.
No. So, sorry, it's the flare. It's the flare because we skipped over the black flare.
Oh, no, I wrote it down. I have it checked off for some reason, but yeah, go ahead, read it. I totally. Yeah. It's there. I think I marked every flare, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're all good to some extent. Yeah. But Flare of Malice. 2 black for an instant that says you may sacrifice a non-token black creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. This is just instant speed 3 for 1.
It's so good.
It's really good, yeah.
Likely your best thing. Let's be honest. It will likely be your best thing.
Yeah, and I want to point out, this is 0 mana, say, screw somebody's Tivit, and then 2 other cards.
I love that. You got something more expensive than no? Yeah, bye, Sphinx. I got a riddle for you. Riddle me this. It's right there. Yeah, I like it. Loses, I have lost. Tivit loses, I have lost. Sack your Teferi. Yeah. I mean, which Teferi? Little T, Big T, Planeswalker Commander T. Another good way to get rid of Narset and Tivit. Facts. Yeah, this card's great. Art's great. Everything's great. Love it.
Indeed.
All right.
Indeed.
Guys, if there's any other black cards you want to talk about, please let us know. But otherwise, we're moving on. We're moving on to red. And I've got one with a big asterisk next to it. I just think the card is interesting. I don't think it's worth running in any deck that comes to mind for me immediately. But I'm always looking for good ways to haste enable things, and Detective's Phoenix is actually kind of cool for that. So, 2 generic and a red. Bestow red and collect evidence. 6 evidence pertains to mana value. You need to exile cards with a total mana value of 6 or greater is what this says. Flying haste. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and haste. You may cast Detective's Phoenix from your graveyard using its bestow ability. I love Phoenixes. This is another cool one. It's a 1 red / get rid of some shit you're not using anymore. Like likely one of your flares at this point, right? Like a free spell that cost way too much and something else you don't care about. And you can bestow haste and flying. Flying is maybe a little less relevant if the thing you care about is just activating some sort of tapped effect. But this is a really cool card. I like it as a value engine. Again, I don't know that this directly fits into anything. I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, this card is, in my opinion, it's kind of worse anger, but also if you can't hit a mountain, this is better anger. I just think that you're probably hitting your mountains, though. Giving evasion can be useful, though. So I like it for the fact that it can give a little bit of a buff. It could be good for Slicer or something like that. So I don't entirely hate the card.
Phoenix Wright. Shit, I really want to play through the Ace Attorney games at some point. They're actively very fun. Yeah, I'm gonna move on from that though, because the next one we want to talk about is right here, Flare of Duplication. Is it always the same girl getting blasted? Don't take that the wrong way. I feel like this art of this person in red is like always like the person that's getting messed up. I feel like I've seen this character before, and I don't know who. Is this Narset?
I don't know.
At any rate, it's all the other flares, but copy target insert a sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copies.
Yeah, good. Turns
Really
out 4
good.
card. If you either pay 1 more generic or 0, it's a better card.
Still a good card. Yeah, and what's nice is that red's got a lot of bodies in a lot of instances. Again, non-tokens, so you can't use those goblins, but still really good. You can use those kobolds though. Okay, so before I move on, I just want to get to this card. I didn't bring it up, but it is interesting. Mateus brought it up. It's Amped Raptor for a generic and a red. Creature Dino, 2/1 body, first strike. When Amped Raptor enters the battlefield, get 2 energy tokens. Then, if you cast it from your hand, exile cards to the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card by paying any amount of energy equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. It's like a baby cascade. Yeah, it's an interesting effect. I don't know if there's any sort of energy manipulation in your list. This is actually kind of good. Thoughts on the Raptor, Will?
It's not bad. My issue is that you only cascade if you cast it from hand, and then you have to basically hit a 2 CMC or less thing from your deck, or else you just don't play it. It's not a bad card, though. But let's see. Hold on, really quick. Oh, you don't shuffle the cards back. This is potentially a demonic consultation in red if you're only running lands. I think it's still more of a fun card than a good card.
Fun than good? You don't like the return to Ixalan, Will?
No.
Okay. All right, the next red card I want to mention is...
Really quick. So, Martin brought up Ashling, and we do like Ashling, but we're covering the non-commanders right now. So if we think it's a good commander, we're not covering it if it's a legendary. So if it's a legendary that's specifically good in the 99, we're probably covering it. But
you're suggesting what's good for Ashling, though? I'm sorry. Flare of Duplication?
No. Just somebody brought up Ashling in chat because we skipped over Ashling, and I'm explaining why we skipped over Ashling.
And I'll skip over again.
Yeah. We skipped over Ashling because Ashling is a really good commander. And tomorrow we're talking about all the commanders, so that's why.
We've got a Lizard Wizard here. Party Thrasher. 1/4 body. Non-creature spells you cast from exile have Convoke. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard a card. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Library? How do they say it? You tell me. Then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. It's pretty good. That's pretty good value. Non-creature spells you cast from exile have Convoke. Stop. I can Convoke with a creature. This guy. It's not bad. I like value engines. I don't know that I have a deck that really cares about the Party Thrasher, but I like it.
I mean, theoretically, Rogtev, you just make thralls, then you tap thralls to play the thing that you exiled, which may or may not be appear into the abyss or ad nauseum. It is a good utility card in my opinion. I don't like it because it's not card draw, it's hand fixing in the second effect, and it's hand fixing at the cost of some random cards in your deck. It can hurt if you hit 2 good things off of the card, because then you gotta just permanently dump one into exile, and that sucks. But the Convoke effect is really good in my opinion, and I think that it can be utilized with a couple different things to just outvalue everybody.
Break the game! Yeah, and Ob Nixilis Party Thrasher is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. Does
Pretty good
Prosper want
lizard
this?
wizard.
Does Prosper is Prosper's the other guy that does this sort of thing? Does he want it?
Yeah, potentially. I think that there are some commanders that make tokens that would abuse the heck out of this as well, because you gotta, what is it, Kaikar? Make a bunch of spirits, tap your spirits to cast the things that you've impulse draw in this game. Have fun. Do good stuff.
I don't know. Well, I think it's time to move on to the best card from our thumbnail.
Indeed, indeed.
Power Balance. Maybe you've heard of it. So, Power Balance for double red enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. Make sure you use that Sensei's Dividing Top first. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the two spells have the same mana value. What? You mean I can cast my Kozilek while you cast your Kozilek? Technically, yes. It's a may reveal the top, so it's all the same things that you're used to with Counterbalance, right? The same strategies to keep in mind, the same utilities you'd want to manipulate with this. Obviously, if your commander has something to say about the top of your deck, this might be good. Asterisks here. This is a cute one. I just wanted to add something that was interesting to the thumbnail. I wouldn't say that this is a staple, though. However, it is a cool-ass effect, and I'm not sure what lists necessarily want this, but probably the same ones that want Counterbalance.
Yeah, I'd say that this is close to being a staple, because the two times when you'd either want this card is either in a deck that just wants to play really fast and needs a little bit more card draw. So maybe Rakdos decks play this, or a deck that can control out the game really hard, because if you're willing to slow down the game to the point where Counterbalance would be a good card, then yes, Power Balance does a lot of work in your deck. However, my issue is if you're in red, you probably don't want this card, because if you're playing really fast,
You mean the color that this card exists in?
yeah. If
you
you're playing
red,
like
you don't want Power
if you're playing
Balance.
like red black, you're playing very fast, but also with a bunch of burst draw. If you're playing red and green, you're playing kind of mid-rangey, but then with a bunch of clunky combos, and you probably don't want to cast the cards on the top. If you're playing red and white, you probably play this, but then you have stacks pieces that may stop you from playing this. And if you're playing red and blue, you're running a bunch of counter spells, and yes, it could be good, but a lot of the time you're going to want to save those counter spells for relevant things. So it's not bad. It's just very weird on the use cases. If you are playing 3 colors, though, I think that you can get away with playing this a little bit more, because then you get color combinations that are okay with playing a good deal slower and aren't going to be as filled up on cards that you don't want to cast. So it's still a good card. It's just that it's weird.
I'm seeing Elsha and Ogier Oxenil as suggested commanders for this card.
I mean, yeah, it's just a good card.
If you're playing red and white, you're playing Winota.
Yeah, Winota plays it.
All right, gang. I've got one more card for you. Maybe Will has more, but this is the last one that's notable. And again, I'm only bringing it up because I feel like I have to. Wheel of Potential?
I wouldn't even include this card on my list.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. People like wheels, Will. Come on. This is going to get everyone's going to start pouring into the audience now. This is the one that I'm going to cut short out of. Trust me. This is the one that people are going to get excited about. Will, it's a new wheel. You don't have to buy Wheel of Fortune.
I will say there's one word on this card that makes this card unplayable.
Is it the?
No. It is may. Each player may exile their hand and draw X cards.
Should we just look at it because it's a sad card?
I think we just let it rot in its corner.
More like Wheel of Missed Potential. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Will.
Granted, I know why they made it say May, because otherwise somebody's just gonna go, I'm gonna pay 2 in a red and pay 0 energy. Have fun.
All right, Will. What are the red cards you want to talk about?
All right, there's two that got passed up for me, and one of them you can probably guess because it follows a pattern of everything that I've gone through already. But I'm gonna do that one second. First is Glimpse the Impossible. 2 and a red for sorcery.
I saw
Exile the
this.
top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. At the beginning of your next end step, if any of those cards remain in exile, put them into your graveyard and then create that many Eldrazi what is it? Eldrazi spawn? Eldrazi spawn. This is a decent card because it's 3 mana, draw 3, and if you don't play any of those cards that you draw, you get mana for your next turn. It's just a very good cantrip, weirdly enough, and it fills up your graveyard, which is something that Red has kind of slowly gotten into.
Mm-hmm. It also just feels like art that was meant for a secret lair that didn't fit into any one secret lair, so they just put it into the set.
Agreed.
There was too much text, so I stopped reading it about like the 4th line. It's a good card though.
It's just impulse draw 3. If you don't play any of those cards, you put them into the graveyard and make that many scions.
I'm not gonna lie, I like the spawn tokens, Will.
Yeah.
Eldrazi spawn tokens. They look cool now. What are the ones I have? I remember it was Spawning Breath. I've got the ones from this set. Can I look at the other art for this token? Screw it. Oh, there you go. There you go.
And my last card in red that I had is a Pinnacle Monk, and that's one of the middle cards. It's just a 2/2 prowessy boy for 5 mana that can return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. This is the Anarchist, but 1 more mana.
Sorry, these are the Eldrazi spawn tokens I have, by the way. I'm sorry. I remember getting these when I bought like a box of this set, and I just love the art for some reason. It's so derpy though. At any rate, what was the last one?
A Pinnacle Monk, and also actually I just checked the card that I referenced with it, and this is just significantly better. So I compare this to the Anarchist, which is 4 in red, ETB return a sorcery from your grave to your hand.
Yeah, this is better.
This is 3 red, return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same cost, you just change a generic for a red, and then you can get an instant from your grave as well. Good card.
You saying this boy's a creep?
I'm saying he's your monk, a djinn.
Has it crept? Is what I'm saying.
I do, yeah. Hard yes, actually,
has it prowess crept?
Well, it's the fact that it's a modal as well. It's Anarchist, but power creeped, and it's a modal land.
It's true. Damn, man, this set's wow. I was trying to bang through the set quicker, but there's so much good shit. So I think that's the end of the red road. But Mateus wanted to continue the bloodletting with Unstable Amulet. So this is generic and a red. Artifact. When Unstable Amulet enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. What? There's a theme in this set. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Unstable Amulet deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Paradox.
It's good in Obnixless.
They immediately tossed out Paradox. I just want to say that. Like, that does not exist as an effect now.
What do you mean? Oh, is Paradox? Oh, from...
Yeah, this is literally just Paradox.
Kind of funny. You can tap it, pay 2 energy, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until you exile another card with Unstable Amulet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2 mana, draw card, and then you get an outlet for, like, Underworld Breach and a couple other things. It's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I agree. It's really fidgety, too. Look at that art. There's no stopping this amulet. It goes where it pleases. It's also got the masterpiece border around it. Also, Amulet wins the game with Dargo loops.
Oh, true. Pretty good. Yeah.
Another Prosper banger. And food chain combos. Alright, guys, let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? No one's reaching for their Unstable Amulet.
Except for the person in the art, apparently.
Nah, he's trying to get a hold of it, that's all. He wants to sell it for that Gilded Drake. Alright, we're moving on to green, which I think has the fewest cards to mention outside of multi.
It is the most cards to mention for me.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
God. Okay,
Don't
well,
worry. I can blitz through mine. It's not
no,
going to
no,
be
it's
long
okay.
for me.
Wait, you said that the Crabominable Snowman.
Oh yeah,
I'm
we
sorry,
can go
we're
back
getting
to that
asked
really
about.
quick in black.
This
I
is the
can
one.
cover.
Oh
So
yes.
this is the affinity or the emerge crab. So it's a 4 black for a 5/5 creature crab demon with emerge from artifact for 5 black. So you can sacrifice an artifact and then reduce this card's cost by the artifact's cost. And then when this enters, target opponent exiles the top card of their library, a random card from their graveyard, and a random card from their hand, and you can play one of those cards without paying its mana cost. Uh, Disrupt a whole lot of things for relatively cheap, and then proceed to cast something for free, the best of whatever they got. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mess with the board in any way, is a little bit random and kind of expensive, but it has potential. It can potentially be looped for win con by just milling out everybody, so it can do work.
All right, I'll go over my very short list with y'all. I've got Birthing Ritual. Is it great? No. Is it cheaper than that other card you're thinking about in this color? Survival of the Fittest? Yes. Are they different? For sure. Is one better? One's better. Generic and a green enchantment at the beginning of your end step. If you control a creature, right? Otherwise, it doesn't happen, so get over it. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Then you may sacrifice a creature. Only then. If you do, you may put a creature... Holy shit, wait. So, you may then sacrifice a creature. If you do, you may put a creature card with a mana value of X or less from among those cards onto the battlefield. So you can sacrifice the creature without doing the thing. That's interesting. Where X is 1 plus the sacrifice creature's mana value. So if it's a token, you get a 1-drop. If it's a 1-drop, you get how this works. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. All right, Will. Which are you? Are you the sloth? Are you the other sloth? Or are you the slightly bigger sloth with antlers? They all have antlers. I'm sorry.
Uh, Slightly bigger sloth. I'll go
Slightly
with
bigger.
slightly bigger
So
sloth.
the sloth that's in the foreground here. I
Yeah.
would say I'm the sloth in the back. I'm the sloth that's hanging out on the other sloth. I'm just there grasping on for my life and
Uh,
hoping I don't get transitioned into that disgusting sloth.
I will say I really like this card. This card is actually really good to me.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is digging down 7 cards is pretty consistently strong. If you are playing any reasonable curve, you are probably going to be able to always find a creature off of this, and it's just a really good utility card. It's worse than Survival of the Fittest for combo purposes, but it's better than Survival of the Fittest for like value purposes. It's like weird Sylvan Library, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like Weird Sylvan Library. This is not bad. I mean, I think we need more card advantage shenanigans in green, and this is another one. So this card's been brought up a lot. So we're gonna talk about it. It's probably at the bottom of this list. Fanatic of Ronus. For a generic and a green snake druid. A 1/4 body. You can tap it for a green, or get this. He's ferocious. Add quadruple green. Activate only if you control a creature with 4 or more power. Well, it doesn't stop there. You can eternalize this bastard for 2 generic and double green and get your money back. Remember, when you eternalize the thing, it comes back as a zombie, whatever it was, and it's also a 4/4 sorcery speed, so don't get too excited. Will, is the Fanatic of Ronus a good card? What deck? Okay, here. I'm gonna add a poll here, but tell me your thoughts on Fanatic of Ronus.
Generically, really good card because completely ignoring Eternalize, it's just a dork that taps for 1 or 4. People have tried making the dork that taps for 1 of any color or 2 of any color if you have Ferocious. This makes significantly more mana for you, and it can also combo off with Umbral Mantle. A lot of people have talked about this being a dumb Umbral Mantle combo card. the fact that it also has Eternalize leads a bunch of self-mill strategy lines open. I like the card. I don't think it's going to be like a staple or anything, but I think it's going to see a very good amount of play.
Which decks, though?
Uh, Easily anything if your commander's power 4 or greater. It's also just good in any deck that needs as many dorks as possible.
Okay, give me a second. Sorry. Okay. It's good. I like it. Savala, anyone? All right, so we're moving on to what is probably the best flare. That's not true at all, but it's a flare. Billy Christian, bringing you Flare of Cultivation. For generic and double green, you may sacrifice. Yeah. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand. Then shuffle. You need to expand your horizons, Will. Watch me expand mine. With basics. Because I'm a basic bitch. It's a good card. It's, what do the people use in casual? It's that, but better, right?
Patrick, you're so basic I can find you off of a Flare of Cultivation.
Okay. Alright. We'll make a short out of that. Millions of views, baby. Yeah, it's a card. It's like Cultivate. Is that the card? There we go.
It's Cultivate.
Kodama's
My one thing,
Reach?
my love-hate with this card is you are probably sacrificing a dork to get a land in your hand, and then a land on your board, which basically does what the dork would have done. So theoretically, this card is literally do nothing except thin out your deck a little bit. It is still get you a tiny bit more ramp in the situations when your low CMC green creature that you got out early is not a dork. So the card it's good. I like the card. It has use. It's just like it feels like it's legitimately I technically do nothing in CDH card. The best utility out of this card may actually be the fact that it lets you sacrifice a creature.
Yeah, right? I mean, you need to sacrifice that. I mean, there's a couple cards. What's that, the Academy Rector?
I mean,
What do you
I'd
need?
sacrifice a
Oh,
Protean
it's a
Hole.
white. Yeah, I would sacrifice Protean Hulk too, but aren't there better ways? I don't know. It's sorcery speed. It's whatever. Just expand your horizons, okay?
Yeah.
All right, well, I've got one more card to mention, but I know you're going to mention it, so why don't we just cover your green cards, because you say you have too many green cards to talk about.
I'll let you get the call out on the card.
No, it's okay.
All right.
I don't need this, Will. I don't need this.
So to start off, I'm gonna continue my my pilgrimage with a Bridgeworks Battle. It's a green fight effect that's a modal land. That is all the reason why the card is in here. It's just removal for green, creature removal that is actually playable because it can be something other than creature removal if you need it.
I think the most notable thing is the Ron Spears art.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
But continuing the trend again, Disciple of Freyalise, and this is a card that I actually have a ton of faith in outside of the fact that it's a modal card.
She's got a ton of faith in Freyalise, so
indeed.
maybe you two can get together, you know.
But Disciple of Freyalise is a 3 green for a 3/3 creature elf druid that says ETB sacrifice another creature. If you do, gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the creature's power, and then it's modal. The reason why this card is really good is Disciple of Bolas is a card that sees some level of play. It's really good with Yargle and Multani. There's a couple other decks that care about it. This card is also just disgusting in Selvala as just another easy creature tutor that says, I made my creature infinitely big, good game. So this card is an outlet in a lot of different decks. It does a lot of useful stuff. It's just a color shifted Disciple of Bolas, and honestly, that's kind of what green needed, because green hasn't had good draw equal to power effects that they could easily find.
Yeah,
this is easily findable. Yeah,
100% agree. This is good. She's painting with all the colors.
Indeed, and then mix in black, and then you
green.
just keep sacrificing this and reanimating this to sack more and more things.
Love it. Love it. I love a good elf druid.
Indeed. My next card, and this is another card that is a speculative, this can combo off in air quotes. It is Evolution Witness. It's a 2 and a green for a elf shaman mutant creature with 2 power and 1 toughness, and it has 1 green and adapt 2. Whenever 1 or more counters is put on this, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. I don't know if this card's going to be playable at all. However, it is part of the entire cycle of adapt effects that could potentially be super abusable because there are potential loops that you can do with this effect. I don't know them, but I think this card can do stuff.
So you've got your, what's the name of that one guy, Ivy Lane Denizen? You got your Ivy Lane Denizen there, and you're putting counters on the sucker and recurring permanent cards.
Yeah, you're the Painter's Servant, Ivy Lane, Denizen, Memnite, and then like something like that.
Oh, it's worth it. Before we move on, though, it looks like there's a B card, a Basking Broodwalla, no, a Basking Brood Scale to look at. So when we look at the Basking Brood Scale, you're a filthy liar, Dylan. Basking Brood Scale? I'm not seeing it in green. You're making me go out of my way for this. Alright, well, if it exists, we'll look at it in a second.
No, Basking Brood Scale is technically colorless. It's devoid.
We'll become
that
explains.
Devoid later.
So
in fact, I have Basking Brood Scale on my list, so we will be covering that.
So Mateus says Evo Witness with LED in Kenny. There you go.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
Look at that.
But yeah, so Evo Witness has some potential. There's one. There's probably more that we'll discover over time, but card does work.
Yeah, I like it. I don't really know what Kenny players are doing nowadays, but shit, I'd rather Nadu. Because I don't have to use freaking Evolution Witness in Nadu.
Wow. Doing
That's
the
right.
card I brought up dirty.
I turn my nose to you. I turn my chin to you, Evo Witness. Alright, moving on. We're done with Evolution.
Well, going to my next card, and this is one that, by the fact it's on my list, people are going to think I'm doing this card dirty, but I'm kind of not. So I want to say my next card is 6. And yes, this is a legendary. I know we said we aren't going to cover legendaries that we think are good commanders. I think 6 is a horrible commander by itself for CDH at least. It's good in casual, but not good in competitive. However, 6 is a monster in the 99. So for those who don't know, 6 is 2 and a green for a legendary creature tree folk with 2 power, 4 toughness, and reach. When it attacks, you mill 3 cards and you may put a land from among them into your hand. As long as it's your turn, non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have retrace. The reason why I think 6 isn't good as a commander but is really good in the 99 is because in green you don't have a lot of permanents that you can easily sacrifice and loop over and over and over again. But in any other color, you can easily fill up your hand with lands, and you can find things that you can keep sacking and looping. Like, for instance, any sack out loop with Dockside, you make a crap ton of mana. Or LED or Lotus Petal, and then you do whatever you want to do in your colors. There is a new old Stick Fingers pile that uses just Hoarding Broodlord and 6, because if you use Hoarding Broodlord, you can get Peer into the Abyss, draw half of your deck, then reanimate 6, and then ditch all of those lands in your hand to keep recasting Lotus Petal, making a bunch of mana, and then you keep going. 6 is a dumb card. I think this card is going to be a new green staple in the 99. I think this card is going to see basically no play as a commander, at least for CDH. In casual, it's good.
Pressing question.
Yes.
You know why 6 is afraid of 7?
7, 8, 9.
Ooh, that's my input on this tree, folk.
Fair enough.
Moving on?
Yep, my next card, and we saw this on the Nadu stream, and we showed why this card is playable in the Nadu stream. Springheart and then Tuco. This is just a bestow creature that says
Did I use
landfall.
this? Did I play this?
Yeah, we played this. It did well. It did the Scoot Swarm thing without Scoot
I
Swarm.
don't remember. I thought we just went for Scoot Swarm.
We did one time, but I think we went for the new card another time, and we were like, oh yeah, it still did the thing.
Yeah, it worked.
But landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 green, and if you do, and this is attached to a creature, you create a token copy of that creature. If you didn't, you make a 1/1 insect token. Landfall make tokens kind of good, but landfall copy your thing over and over and over again. That can set up engines, and that just does good work. Like, resetting a copy of your commander, sometimes kind of good enough. Making a couple insects every now and then, kind of good enough. Getting multiple copies of some actually useful creature, that's a good deal better. I also want to point out the fact that I think you can use this on your opponent's creatures as well. So if you just want to start making token copies of enemy creatures, you can. So this card has a good amount of utility. I would love to see somebody put this on a Gilded Drake that they traded to an enemy, and then proceed to keep making copies of Gilded Drake to just slowly steal everything. That'd be fun.
Well, that's if Nadu cared about Gilded Drake.
True. Well, didn't we run Nadu in Gilded Drake?
I think we used
Or
Storm
did we
Drake.
run Gilded Drake?
I think we used the Storm Drake.
I thought we used both.
I think we do. We do use both. There you go. Will, your dream is alive, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. You want to talk about the Oozewag, or are we not doing that?
Yeah, we can talk about the Oozewag. I had a card that I thought was in my... I thought this was in my green list, but it was actually not in my green list. I don't know how the crap this card got here.
Guys, please vote on this poll, please. Please don't let that be true. What I'm seeing right now. Please vote on this poll. This is important.
Nah.
Sorry. Sorry. Well.
We can cover the temperamental Oozewag if you want, Patrick.
No, I don't.
But Patrick is another thing from the adapt cycle that I've been talking about.
No one cares about your adapt. Give me something good, Will, like Trickster Elk.
Well, if we want to talk about the multicolor cards, I have a card to give.
Oh shit, are we moving? Oh, thank the good Lord.
Yeah.
Guys, if there's another green card you want to talk about, please refrain, because Papa needs to go to bed. No, that's not true. I only have one multicolored card, and I have 3 colorless cards.
I also have only one multicolor card, and I think
shit.
How many?
I don't think it's the same one.
Yeah.
Well, let us know. I think
it's different.
Let us know if there are any good multicolored cards you want to talk about. But does the bestow mechanic say create creature you control? I'm sorry. Does the bestow mechanic say creature you control?
Let me check. I am actually curious about that because I did not pay attention. Freaking hold on. It's of course it doesn't show the rules text on the card. I'm gonna look up another card with bestow.
I'm gonna put the card I want to talk about on the screen for multicolor.
Bestow. You may cast this for its bestow cost as an ore card, enchanting a creature.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gruul lets you copy a tally. Gruul lets you Spring Heart Nantuko on Dockside.
Yeah. Spring Heart Nantuko is just a very lovely card.
Psychic Frag.
That's true. Psychic Frag. It's Demir for a 1/2 that when it deals combat damage to a player planeswalker, you draw a card, you can discard a card and put a +1/+1 counter on it and exile 3 cards from your graveyard to give it flying. There you go, that's Psychic Frag.
Psychic Frag. Okay, guys, Planar Genesis is the only multicolored card you want from the set, trust me. Trust me. For Simic, instant speed. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't, put a card from among them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Is Limdul's Vault a card? Yes. Is it better? Yes. Well, if you need to ramp at instant speed, maybe not. I like this a lot. I don't know that there's a list that has a slot in the 99 for this. But I think it's a good effect. Shit, if this did Limdol's Vault in Simic for this, that would be amazing. But que sera. No such card exists yet in Simic. But Will, what multicolored card did you want to talk about?
The card that I wanted to talk about, which I can't find right now. Where the frick?
What color?
Oh, it's because color ordering. White of the Reliquary, and it's
White of the Reliquary?
yeah, it's starting W. So White of the Reliquary
Oh God,
is
what? Go on.
it's Golgari.
Okay.
Yeah.
Golgari. There we go. We're in the
Yeah.
right colors.
Yeah, White of the Reliquary is 1 black, 1 green for a 2/2 with Vigilance.
Oh.
It has +1/+1 for every creature card in your graveyard, and you can tap it, sacrifice another creature, and then search for any land and put it from your deck to the battlefield tap. This is just a good way to find Gaia's Cradle and all of your other really, really dumb utility lands. I like this card because it's going to ramp you a lot throughout the game, and if you're playing any slower strategy, I think you're very happy to say, I sacrifice my Llanowar Elves for Gaia's Cradle, or for a dual land, or anything like that, because it's thinning your deck, filling your graveyard, and just making a slowly bigger and bigger creature. Card's good.
It is good.
Long and short.
No, it is good. It's how you get your Protean Hulk to die. I'm just kidding. Yes. I'm gonna use the White of the Reliquary. You're gonna nuke the night as soon as I put Protean Hulk on the stack, but I'm gonna try it. I'll try it anyways. Yeah, I like it, and I really love the art.
And then hopping to Devoid. Well, I guess if anybody has any multicolored things, let us know.
Yeah, we got Psychic Frag out of the way.
Yeah, we got Psychic Frag.
I'm so disappointed with how this poll is going. I thought I was going to have a fun time getting to share my favorite cookies with you all, but the 2 of my favorite cookies that are on this list are the lowest in the poll. Keebler Elfwitch cookies are so good. They are the best cookie in existence, and Nutter Butter's like a close second for me.
Well, moving to the Devoid cards. Anything on your list, Patrick?
For Devoid?
Yes. That's
no.
the Colorless before Colorless. Oh, wait, actually, did they mix them? No, they mixed them together. Never mind. Is there any colorless things on your list, Patrick?
There are certainly colorless things, but none of them be Devoid.
Your choice if you want to mix the things, or if you want to
No. Go for your your colored but not colored cards.
Yeah, to start, and funnily enough, both of them are Devoid green for me. One is Basking Broodscale, and this is brought up earlier. This is 1 in a green for a creature, Eldrazi Lizard with Devoid, and 1 in a green for Adapt 1. Whenever 1 or more counters are put on this, you can create an Eldrazi spawn. This card can probably combo very easily, because there are several effects that say when a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on another creature. It combos. It also just makes a good amount of mana by putting counters on things. So this card has combo potential and just general grindy value potential.
What's the combo? What's the best combo with this?
There's like a 1 mana equipment that says whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. That's one of the easier things. There's probably a couple things in black that exist that I don't know off the top of my head as well. Those are the 2 I can think of.
Okay. Are you the thing that it's eating? Are you the lizard itself? Or are you the Eldrazi attached to the thing? The brood scale.
I'm the Eldrazi attached to the thing. I'm an Eldrazi boy at heart.
I think I was probably that fly. But it's a big fly. It's an impressive one.
Indeed. Quite an impressive fly.
Anyway.
And my other Devoid card, also in green,
sheet.
is Theft of Existence. And it is 1, a colorless, and a green for a 3/4 Eldrazi with Devoid. Whenever you cast this spell, exile up to 1 target non-creature, non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value 4 or less. If you do, this gains, when this leaves the battlefield, target opponent draws a card. This is just exile the One Ring on cast. No one can stop this or interact with this. This is just nice removal and a decent sized body.
Nice removal, dog. No, I agree. I like the Rosy Cotton combo people are suggesting for the Brood Scale, by the way.
Yeah,
Dylan.
pretty much
I didn't know
anything
this
that says make a ETB, put a counter on a thing, that works. It's a good card.
Mhm.
And
Common.
also
And common? Sorry.
I for some reason put this in the wrong pile as well. I have one more Devoid card, and we talked about this before the stream, Patrick.
Did we?
It is Abstruse Appropriation. So it's 2 white black for an instant with Devoid. Exile target non-land permanent, and then you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and spend colorless mana as though it was mana of any color to cast the spell. This is just, what is it? Utter End, but better, but it doesn't hit lands. People
that's
play
fine.
Utter End in CDH every now and then. This is just much better. It's steal a thing.
Dylan says only downside to Thief is it requires a colorless. Not
Yeah.
uncommon, but can come up. Abstruse
Yeah.
Apparition is sadly too expensive to be good or competitive, in my opinion. I don't disagree, but I understand where Will's coming from with this one.
Yeah, it's people play the other 4 mana removal that exiles a permanent, so this replaces that. Will this be a new staple? Probably not, but it definitely will see a little bit of play at least.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think that it's time to move on to the non-devoid colorless.
Yeah.
And I mean the good spells from this set.
Oof.
Oof is not in this set. Maybe it is. I didn't look.
Let's see if there's some oofs in the set. I'm gonna quickly
There might be an
creature
oof or
types back
two.
up.
There might be an oof or two. All right. Will, have you heard of a little card called Null Elemental Blast?
You know, why don't you read it off to me?
Well, speaking of colorless, yeah, get whipped, my boys. Get
Also,
whipped.
we did not get an oof in this set.
So you're probably going to have a way to generate the mana for this. I would hope so. Otherwise, don't incorporate this card. Choose one. Counter target multicolored spell. Destroy target multicolored permanent. In a game of Commander, it's probably your opponent's commander. There aren't that many multicolored spells that see play. You have the Ass Trophy that comes to mind. You have my favorite, which is the Rakdos card, which I'm forgetting right now, but you pay... God, what is it called? It's my favorite removal spell. It has a dragon on it. You pay life to do damage.
Oh, Breath of Fury? No, it's...
I'm not a real Magic player.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
How could I forget? Who am I, Hedwig? What am I? It's gonna kill me. Breath of... No. Was you put breath into my mind. It's not...
I know.
I don't think there's any breathing involved. Wait, maybe there is.
Fire Covenant.
Fire Covenant. It's just, yes. Stops that. No Elemental Blast will hit a few things, but I think, personally, the most important things are going to be opposing commanders. And by the way, Oreo wins with 53%. My god. How basic are we? No Elemental Blast wouldn't... Well, actually, I think Oreos are Orzhov, so it would
Yeah,
technically...
Oreos are
counter that.
Orzhov.
Oreos are Orzhov, right? Chips Ahoy is just, I think... What color is Chips Ahoy? I think Chips Ahoy is probably green, because there's an abundance in those damn sleeves. Nutter Butter is... I would like to think Boros. And Elfwich Cookies... Fuck. I was going to say green as well, but I think they're Golgari. Counter your Wario. You guys do know that we are here, right? We usually have answers for you quickly. Well, I didn't see... Oh, there's Mateus. No, I do know you're here.
Oh,
I was trying to remember before reading anyone's comment.
and the thing was, we got Fire Covenant on our end before we saw anybody put the comment, because the stream is like 10 seconds delayed.
Right.
So we saw people type whatever they're going to type 10 seconds after, or 10 seconds later. So pretty much we had that whole pause where we were trying to figure it out. and then you guys saw us doing that whole pause 10 seconds afterwards.
Well,
So
what Will is saying that
there's a massive
he
delay.
skipped your end step. He didn't look to see if you wanted to take priority to do anything. He just skipped your end step.
Yeah.
Najila is notably mono red.
Yes.
What about Thin Mints? Thin Mints are,
You know what? Thin Mint's our best cookie. I'm not even going to argue that.
but are Thin Mints? I think they're deceptively. You would think Golgari, but I think Thin Mints are Selesnian. I think anything that has to do with Girl Scouts is probably white in some extent. Noble, like their cause for spreading the joy of cookies everywhere.
Would it be-
Samoas, though, Samoas are the guy. I mean, if
Would
you're
it be Selesnya or Azorius? I don't know why. I feel like mint is blue. It feels like the most calculated flavor ever. It's the color. It's the flavor of toothpaste for a lot of people. So it's like
okay,
it's the manufactured flavor.
I could see Thin Mints being Azorius as well. Samoas, I feel like, are our first trip color. I feel like they might be. Shit, I feel like they're maybe Jeskai. What's the best cookie? The best cookies are uncooked. I think my wife would agree, but you're both.
You know what?
wrong.
Fair. I could agree to that.
You like cookie dough? I always get sick off that shit. There is this place in New York called Dough, and you go there and they give you scoops of uncooked cookie dough. I know I don't usually get sick eating food, but I got so sick after that visit to Dough. I think they might still be in business. Don't visit. Vexing Bubble. Sorry. One generic. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. Pay a generic tap, sacrifice Vexing Bubble, draw a card. Will, I have nothing to say about this card. It seems pretty good.
Yeah. This is debatably a 1-mana defense grid that you can shut off at any point for 1 mana to let everybody cast their free spells on the other guy's turn. Recurable draw with something like Luris. This card is just really good. If you play this turn 1, you are making a lot of decks sad because you are countering their mana crypts. This card is really brutal and really strong in the right circumstances, and I think a lot of decks will be running this card. I don't think it's going to be played everywhere. I don't think it's always going to be the most impactful, but the fact that it's 2 mana draw 1 in the literal worst case scenario is still pretty good as just a card in general. I will say though, this card is brutal in Vintage and Legacy. It's going to see a lot of play there. It is not a surprise to me that this card is $6.50 right now as an uncommon.
Yeah, I hope if and when we do get product, Hasbro gods, hear me, hear my plea.
Don't worry, you're getting the right side this time. I'm getting the left side.
Well, I mean, I'm getting hopefully a Vexing Bubble. That's all I really care about.
True,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a few things I want. I want that dumb-looking Nadu, and I'm sorry to the artist. I just think it's so goofy looking. I want that Nadu, and you know which one I'm talking about. And I'd like a copy of Vexing Bauble. I might fool with it. I only have one more card to bring up, though, Will, and it's right down here. It's called Winter Moon.
Fair.
Winter Moon is like... Do you remember those... What are they called? X bars? Do you remember? It was in 0 bars. Do you remember 0 bars? It's like white chocolate outside and then like some sort of caramel nougat interior. This reminds me of a 0 bar. If it was a candy. I'm hungry, I think. 2 generic artifacts. Players can't untap more than 1 non-basic land during their untap steps. Thoughts on the Winter Moon, Will?
Really, really good because this is debatably just better Winter Orb. It's so good because you screw over all of the decks that are stronger than you most of the time. And if you're a monocolored deck, you slam this without worrying because it's like, oh no, I have 5 Forest and a Gaia's Cradle. I'll untap all of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about that poor Dryad Arbor you forgot about?
He can stay tapped. He can rest. He's worked hard enough. He's a land and a creature. Do you know how exhausting that is?
For a Dryad? I have no idea. Will, are there any other...
There is
artifacts
one
you'd like
for me, and it is
Oh.
Disruptor Flute.
Disruptor Flute, you say?
Yeah, it is an artifact that
yeah.
costs 2 and it has flash. As this enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Spells of the chosen name cost 3 more to cast, And activated abilities of the source of the chosen name cannot be activated unless they are mana abilities. Um, this is just a pretty nice card because it's Pithing Needle, but you can wait to cast it whenever, and then it's Thalia on somebody's commander if you want to just say, nice Najeela, it cost 9.
Hmm.
You gotta pay the commander tax in addition to extra 3.
That's not bad. Activatable is the source of chosen name. That you could say if everyone's playing your what's the name? The Trident guy, the stupid Simic commander.
Thrasios?
Thrasios.
Yeah, multiple
Sorry.
people are playing Thrasios. Congrats. He's gonna cost 5 from the command zone and his activated abilities don't happen. Suck it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I completely whiffed on Thrasios. He's not
It's
bad. I've never built for it. It just felt too easy.
Be fair, the fact that you called him the Triton guy is pretty good considering the fact that he is Thrasios Triton hero.
Isn't he?
So,
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that.
yeah.
I've read
Uh,
part of the card. I just know that it does the one thing with mana. I've read part of the card before. Nadu's better though. Nadu's better. Can we let's here poll.
not as brutal, just as a card in general. Not as
Which
brutal.
I even understand that Thrasios has partner. Let me know what you think, guys.
What do you need with partner when you have the word bird, bird, bird? Bird is the word.
All right, Will. We're moving on to lands. Will's got
All
a
right.
lock on lands. He knows everything about lands. He's your best friend when it comes to lands. So hit me up, Will.
Patrick gave me free reign on lands, so I'm gonna run through these really quickly because thankfully these are pretty straightforward on how useful they are. To start off, we have Monumental Henge, which is a land that enters the battlefield tapped unless you control planes. It taps for white, and you can pay 2 white to tap this. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal a historic card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a white land that enters untapped and draws you cards sometimes. Generally pretty good considering that artifacts are a thing.
Yeah, I like it. I think that this probably goes into Oswald.
Yeah, because it's almost always going to enter untapped on turn 2, and then
Well,
it's almost always going to be finding an artifact.
you know for a
Yeah.
fact, though, that this is going to be, when you're mulliganing heavily, this is going to show up in your hand as the one fucking land. It's always nonstop. Like the one land that you just don't want to see at the beginning of the game. You always see it at the beginning of the game. Except for your Cavern of Souls. You're never going to see that. Don't even think about trying to play that with a luck counter on it. But yeah, Monumental Henge, outside of that hiccup with it coming into play, taps. Otherwise, I think that this is good in a mono white list. I'll probably incorporate it in Oswald, though.
Yeah, and Mateus, so going to back to the flute for a quick second, the reason why I at least feel like the flute is a little bit more reasonable, because yeah, it is definitely better in 1v1s, is because it has flash. If it didn't have flash, I would 100% agree with you without batting an eye. But the fact that it has flash means that you can hold it and use it at any given point in time, so it feels a lot more like just removal than a stacks piece. And then it's a bit of stacks on top of it, because you can choose to name like ad nauseum or something when you know that somebody just tutored. So I like the card. I think the card has like a lot of utility to it, because specifically because flash.
Sorry, here, go on, sir. Tell me.
Next we have Archway of Innovation, which is a land that enters tapped unless you control an island. It taps for blue, you can pay a blue and tap it, and the next spell you cast this turn has Improvise. Just good if you make artifacts. It's nice.
A question for Will: is Vexing Bauble good for Ashling?
I'm trying to think if there's any reason to not run it.
Well, I mean, if Ashling...
Yeah, I think it's fine, because you're not casting the copy effects, and you are floating a ton of mana, so I think, yeah, you can run Vexing Bauble and Ashling, because the best part about Vexing Bauble is if you want to play it turn 1, you're probably playing all your fast mana, then playing it, so you're fine with it. So yeah, I think you can get away with that. The only reason why you may not get away with that is because you can't use the weird bonus round thing with Calamity's Wake, or Invoke Calamity. But you don't exactly need that, because we went over this on the stream after building the deck. It's you may discard a card then, or it's a discard a card then draw a card, meaning that you can be hellbent, discard nothing, and draw a card. So theoretically, it's just keep drawing more and more cards. But yeah, I think Vexing Bauble goes in Ashling. It's Vexing Bauble goes in almost any deck without hesitation. The question is, how useful is it going to be?
It's true. Yeah, I mean, I think you need to be careful about how you slot it into a list, but I think in a list like, say, Oswald, it's something I could tutor very easily before trying to go off if I see people are tapped out, or even just have minimal mana left or minimal treasures or whatever they're holding. It just narrows down their play options, right? Especially with this new cycle of flares. Like, we can expect there's always going to be free spells, whether it's 0 cost, alternative cost, whatever. That it's going to be able to shut down. So it's a nice way to like kind of remove some of the removal suite from your opponents.
I completely forgot to cover Vexing Bauble is also kind of a combo card because you can use it with Knowledge Pool. That was one thing I brought up initially, and I completely forgot to bring that up during the stream. The reason why is because you can sacrifice it for your turn, do whatever the heck you want to do with Knowledge Pool, and then try to recur it off of something like Lurrus Sun Titan, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a dumb combo that you can try to pull off, and I think it's kind of viable because Vexing Bauble is not a bad card at all, and Knowledge Pool, if you get Knowledge Pool, you're trying to find Vexing Bauble quickly. So it's weird.
Is the next card you're going to say Spy Master's Vault?
Yes.
Okay.
So Spy, and I jumped over one that people may have potentially liked because some people kind of like Sunken Palace, but I think it's very iffy for CDH.
It's just like no, don't mention it if it's mid.
Okay.
Just like that one green card. Don't need to mention it.
Yeah, indeed.
What is it called again? That one green card.
Seedborn Muse. Seedborn Muse is mid. I'll give the quick run over of Sunken Palace though.
Okay.
It's a land that enters tapped, can tap for blue, and you can pay some mana, tap it, and exile 7 cards from your grave to make a blue. If you use that to cast spells or activate abilities, double up. It can be good. You're going to be hurting your grave a lot though. But Spy Master's Vault, on the other hand, helps your grave. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. You can pay a black and tap it, or you can tap it for a black. You can pay a black and tap it, and target a creature you control. It connives X times, where X is the number of creatures that have died this turn. For those who don't know, connive is draw and then discard that many cards, and put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each non-land card you discard it this way. The reason why this is really good is if you have any death loop or you do any death storm strategy, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards and fixing your hand really well. This is also just a good way to buff a creature to insane heights. The card's good. That's all there is to it. The card is good.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this card. There's really, it's probably the best in this cycle, by the way.
Yeah, it is a weird split between the blue, the green, and the black. I think that either the green or the black takes the cake, though. But going to the next one,
No.
And we have cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
We have Arena of Glory, which is a land that enters tapped unless you control a mountain. It taps for a red, and you can pay a red, tap it, and exert it to make 2 red. Then, if this mana is spent to cast a creature spell, it gets haste.
Godo.
You don't care about this for Godo. This is much more of a casual card than anything else because you are tapping this land that can make a red and paying a red to make 2 mana. So you are not getting up any mana with that second effect, but you can give 2 creatures haste this turn. That is good enough for Rowan. That is good enough for a bunch of other commanders that want to do things.
For Naheb, sir.
Yeah, that's good enough for Naheb. It's just the effect is just good enough, especially considering the fact that this is going to replace a basic mountain without any fanfare.
Naheb is probably in that arena right now.
And then, to finish off the cycle, we have a Gifting Woodland, which enters tapped unless you control a forest, and you can tap it for a green, or if you have Delirium, You can pay 2 green and have this become a copy of target permanent card in your graveyard.
Hell yeah.
This is really good because it's basically just to reanimate
Right.
on a land
In green. It's
in
very
green.
it's very weird. I mean, obviously it could be any permanent, but imagine you do your buried alive pile and you use shifting woodland to get the necrotic ooze. It's like what? It's solid.
This probably allows some dumb intuition pile too, because if you have a commander that lets you play a land from the graveyard, you just do the thing.
Yeah, shifting woodland is pretty broken. It's not bad. It pays for its own activation. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to tap it. You are right. Dang.
Yeah. That is kind of stupid that the delirium on this. Yeah.
Yeah, dumb card is dumb.
It's a little shifty, this woodland.
Indeed.
No ECDs, though. I mean, look, Mateus, we can't have it all. Could you imagine? No. That's pretty ridiculous.
You can keep your 4 Dockside treasures if I get a free or 4 mana Razaketh the Foul-Blooded.
Imagine if it was like exile shifted woodland. It returns as a copy of target permanent.
Oh, I completely forgot to say this, but yes, you can do this. Theoretically, you can do some dumb stuff with Kennen and this card to do infinite of something, because you can stack infinite activations of this and then shift between like Basalt Monolith and something that's like tap deal a damage or something.
Oh.
So this can do stuff with that. I don't think that's going to be relevant almost ever, but yes, you can stack activations with this to do some stuff.
Damn, that's cracked.
No, you can't crack it for anything, Patrick. It just stays on the field.
Unless the thing you copy allows you to crack it.
Yeah, the fetch land. You're going to copy a fetch land.
My canopy land. I'm going to draw a card. I need to draw a card really fast. Yeah. This is a good card. Crap.
Yeah, any of the canopies like Horizon Canopy. Speaking of Horizon, we have Horizon of Progress, which is way further down in the land list because we got a lot of land reprints. But Horizon of Progress is a land that can be tapped and pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any type of a land that you control could produce. You can pay 3 and tap it and put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. And you can pay 1 and tap it to sacrifice it to draw a card. This is just a very good utility land. It's untapped, can tap for any of the colors of things you control, and you can pay 3, tap it, and ramp. So you can hold up interaction, and if that falls through, you just play another land for the turn.
Dude, I never see you on live. Never see who, Kyle? Me?
What? You're seeing him on live right now.
It's true. Okay. Yeah, this is great. And I'm into us revisiting Kamigawa Neon Dynasty for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look at the Flusterstorm promo in a second though. But we got to cut through these lands first.
There's 2 more.
There's 2 more. Eat something after this.
One is Planar Nexus. Planar Nexus is every non-basic land type. It can tap for a generic, or you can pay 1 and tap it to make a mana of any color. The 2 reasons why Planar Nexus are relevant for CEDH potentially. 1, it is a gate. That means that you can now do 2 color Maze's End, and that works. And then on top of that, it is also an Urza's Mine, an Urza's Power Plant, and an Urza's Tower. So if you will, for some reason, have a CEDH deck that actually cares about using the Urza lands, this is a complete set of the Urza lands, so all of the lands are automatically activated.
Golos used to be a thing.
Yeah, to be fair, if you're playing Colorless, you're playing Planar Nexus just to keep the Urza lands active, I think.
Yeah, this is pretty sick. Did they think that this was broken in any way?
They made an unversion of the card that was all land types, period, and entered tapped. And I think that they made this as a safe version of that.
A safe version? Okay.
Yeah. Because to be fair, yeah, it's not broken at all. Like it's
hard to find, fair. I guess. Yeah, it's not bad.
And the last land is Talon Gates of Madara, which for any of you weebs, this has a Naruto joke that's been spreading around the internet.
That or I'm sorry, wait. Will, have you played God of War Ragnarok?
No, but I've seen it. I've watched it play through.
Okay, then you've probably seen Thor drop one of these.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, proceed. It's a gate.
But when this enters the battlefield, up to one target creature phases out. This taps for colorless, or this can pay one and be tapped for any mana or mana of any color. You can pay for and put this from your hand onto the battlefield. So this is a flash land. So this is a land that's actually interaction, but the meme here is Madara is a Naruto character that can do something called Genjutsu, which can put people to either sleep or make them hallucinate. So Madara using Genjutsu to phase out a creature. That is the frickin' weeb joke on this card. Reason why this card is relevant outside of all of that is also you can now do mono black Maze's End in CDH.
I mean, I guess you could have before, though, right? Or
Nope, you were one land short with the planar nexus, but because we got 2 gates in the set, we have exactly 10 gates in black because black has black gate, and none of the other lands have a gate that isn't or that's specific for the color.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah,
we got there.
This
boys.
also just being a land that you can ramp from your hand for 4 mana and use it as interaction is just. It's okay.
I mean,
it's
you're talking
nice.
about specifically natural gates, not lands that copy other lands.
Correct.
Like Vesuvan or Vesuvan?
You can't use Vesuvan or Vesuva or any of those things for Maze's End because the gates have to all have different names. So copy gates don't work. The only way to actively do it is to turn one of your gates into a creature and copy it with OG Sakashima, which copies a thing but keeps its name.
Will, should we incorporate gates in Nadu?
Probably not. I think you keep gates specifically for the decks that care about lands, like Tatiova.
Nadu doesn't care about lands? Will. Alright, Talon Gate is pretty nice to phase out a stacks piece to go for a win. Hell yes. You even get the mana off this sucker too, to use for that one spell that requires a colorless.
True. Patrick. Null Elemental Blast.
Yeah, there you go. Gates of Madara just for that. Gang, I think that covers... This was a long one. Man,
yeah, I knew this was going to be a long one.
Well, I mean, we haven't done a set review in a long time, and...
This set definitely had a good amount to review.
Right. It's crazy how good... Modern Horizons 2 is a banger. Here's what I want to do. Wow, I'm surprised Nadu won that poll. As we close this out, I just want to pass the question off to you. Guys, which of these 3 sets was the best? And Will, any closing thoughts here?
I mean, I'm just very hyped to try some of this stuff out in general. Because there's the dumb Loxodon combo that I talked about at the beginning of the stream, but then there's also all the adapt cards that I do want to try to make work at some point. I just haven't had the time to actually look into all the dumb adapt combos.
Biggest impact on Commander? Modern Horizons, Modern Horizons 2, or Modern Horizons 3? Go.
I feel like 3 might. Modern Horizons 1 had a good deal of stuff. It added Collector Roof and all that. Modern Horizons 2 added the Elemental Evoker cards, which are currently staples. I think Modern Horizons 3 may.
Bro, is this what you're is this what you're talking about? Wait, Flusterstorm, buy a box promo. This is a buy a box promo?
Yeah.
I need to buy a box now, Will.
I like how Patrick went from the guy who doesn't want to play blue ever to the guy who wants to buy the staple blue card.
No, what's her name? I mean, they made her look like Ronnie. Kind of. From a distance, it looks like Ronnie from Elden Ring. It's not. That's a hood. That's not a hat. It looks sick as hell, though. I don't know what she's standing on that fountain for, but she's owning it. But yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts, guys. Which Modern Horizons set had the biggest impact on Commander? Let us know in the comments section down below. If MH2 so good, why there's no MH2 2? Modern Horizons OG was so good. Man, yeah. Wow. People are reluctant to answer this poll. There's still some of you out there. I see you in the audience. Feel free to complete that poll before you go to bed. Take your time though. It's appreciated that you're actively considering this. But yeah, send your buy a box promos. I'll give you guys my PO box after the stream, so you guys can send me your buy a box promos for Monster Hunter 3. I would really love to get as many Fluster Storms as possible. I knew you would appreciate it. Yeah, dude, it's killer. At any rate, guys, that's it for this one though. I definitely recommend that you stay tuned for tomorrow's stream as we cover all of the legendaries from this set, and there are a mess. But I'm very excited to talk about the legendaries from this. It's also going to be our North Star for which legendaries we cover next in our brewing sessions here on the channel. So hang tight for that. There's still more Magic to come this year. Bloomburrow's next? Or is it
Assassin's Creed is next, I think, and then Bloomburrow's afterwards.
Well, I don't know. Get excited for that if you care about Assassin's Creed.
I'm just saying that off of the Scryfall. Scryfall could be mixed up on that, but I don't know.
That's okay. Guys, I'm going to eat, go to bed, wake up at 5 o'clock. But I want to give you guys a few more seconds to catch up with this poll. I have feelings on this. I mean, Will, where do you feel? Like, what do you think Modern Horizons set had the biggest impact on the game? It's honestly a tough question. I mean, because of the newness of this, I'm really liking this set. I mean, we just covered a shit ton of cards. But frankly, you know, I don't know that every one of these is a staple per se, or will fit into any or all list, but there's a ton of really good ones here. I think that this cycle of flares was the best well, man. Yeah, I would say it goes Modern Horizons 3, Modern Horizons 2, and Modern Horizons 1 so far as the cycle of free spells is concerned.
Yeah, I will say, so I looked through all the 3 sets just as a quick, brisk run around. So Modern Horizons 1 didn't have a lot in it because they were still, that was before they started powering up a lot of different things. They had Urza. Urza was the biggest table flip out of that entire set. But then Modern Horizons 2 had a lot of staples that are still seeing a ton of play today, and it did shift up the meta a good deal. Modern Horizons 3, I think, may have more staples, but I'd say Modern Horizons 2 based off of what we know.
Damn. Well, you know what, Will? The audience would disagree because right now I think Modern Horizons is at the top.
I know.
Oh no,
they have a right to be wrong.
They have a right to be wrong. They're allowed to be wrong. Guys, that'll do it for this video. Let us know if you enjoyed the content today, and the best way in doing so is leaving this video with
oh my gosh, it's a 3-way tie right now, Patrick.
Are you bullshit? Is it really? Wow. Okay, yeah, leave this video with a like. Feel free to complete that poll before we close this one out. I'm going to do something new. I'm going to leave that poll running while we say our goodbyes. I'm just curious as to what YouTube does. I assume it'll just automatically shut it down, but this was a fun one. I hate that it had to be so late. Sorry, guys. For the most part, these are probably going to start around 7:30. I'm trying to rework my schedule so it doesn't have to start so late, but we'll see about that. Go to sleep, you people. Don't y'all have work? I do, sadly.
Get some sleep. Brew some brews the next day. You brew better when you get your rest. We showed that we got all those new combos. Use a Guardian of the Forgotten with a Demon Male Hawberk. Do it.
Yeah.
Kick some butt.
Or any one of the other better combos. No offense. I just want to re-brew Nadu with Gates. Nadu Gates.
The issue is Maze's End is going to enter the battlefield tapped, so you have to untap that, then tap it, and then do the thing.
Well, you just incorporate that one Scorched Desert.
Deserted Temple.
Deserted Temple. Just incorporate the Deserted Temple to untap the gate. There's a way, damn it. There's a way, Will. Don't discredit
There is a way. But I think just putting your deck into play is probably the better way.
Grizzly prefers it late? Yeah, let me know, guys, if you prefer these late. You can let me know in the comments. But you're running a pre-release tomorrow, Dylan. Good luck with that. Hopefully you don't have to deal with too many knuckleheads, but it should be a fun time. What's work? tell you, work is the thing I do when I'm not enjoying myself. Work is the thing I do. Now, work is fun. I like the people I work with. I'm very fortunate. Just copy the maze with Vasuba. Play that Vasuba.
Doesn't that enter the battlefield tapped?
Vasuba?
Yeah.
Would it enter? You may have Vasuba enter a copy. Enter the battlefield tapped. I totally take your poll, but I'm at a lubrication and I don't know very much about the subject. It's all right.
It's okay. Somebody broke the poll and then proceeded to vote Modern Horizons 3.
Damn. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.